bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum. We're going live and then it'll say live and bum ba ba bum ba-dum ba-dum. And a 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3 and we are live! Hi everybody! Ray, good to see you, glad to have you. Oh, ahead of a jelly bean today. Please be aware that this is an Endwalker spoiler-free zone. Any comments that give away any good stuff will be deleted and it'll give you a hard stare. It's true, though you are more than welcome to talk about anything up to the point that we are, and we are currently about to do 4.1, so anything up to there is perfectly fair game. If you think you can talk obliquely about any of the other stuff around the edges, and have questions or things you want to cover on, we can try. Jellybean, lolly ho, good to see you, glad to have you. Dez, good to see you, glad to have you. Want to know what the dwarves say in Ishgard? Halila. Holy lot. Oh boy. Jellybean! Demins, good to see you, glad to have you. Sterling Cox! You were here. Remember you, for you were here. Good to see you, glad to have you. Rowan, good to see you, glad to have you. Sneezes very loudly enough, actually. Good afternoon. Well, hopefully that's not indicative of you being sick. Jubilant, V, good to see you, glad to have you. Sarah, good to see you, glad to have you. Dez, also again, good to see you, glad to have you. Damn, good to see you, glad to have you. Good to see me, glad to have me. It is good to see you, glad to have you. Indeed. I'm tired, but I'm wired! I take it you've been up quite a bit, Demins? How's everybody doing, though? It is very cold today where I am, and also currently in the room I am, it is about 22 degrees, something like -5°C. It is quite the chilly. But it'll be good. It'll be fine. Beyond that, today we're going to be hitting on 4.1 because I thought even though technically we still have to do the 4 lords, I'm going to wait till after we finish 4.3 in order to do that. So there's a little bit of a break between 4.3 and 4.4, and also because the past 2 weeks have been Alliance and Raid, and I think it's about time that we hit back on the MSQ proper. So, beyond that, we have to do our little warm-up with Dark Knight, but I'm going to chat with you guys for a second here. Gods, I hope not. I'd like to break, a break before 2023. Right, because you've had a bit of a go of it, Rowan, right? You were telling us on the Discord. Speaking of which, we have a Discord. If you'd like to socialize and or be a part of a fun little community that loves doing things together, helping each other out, and being an overall positive time, you can join us over on the discord.gg/Eorzean archives. Been up since 5. Oh, lordy. I have been up since 1 because I slept the frackin' today. Because I don't know, I just had a rough time sleeping last night. I was sick all last week. It was not fun. Oof. Tam, I'm glad I hope you're feeling better. I know Willow was also, had 102-degree fever on Saturday. So all of y'all, take care of yourselves. And look, we got a Ray here, we got a V here, we got a Dest here, we got an Alara here, and we got a Bean! All the lovely ladies. We gotta do our Christmas, postcard for the Eorzean archives. But beyond just that, one of the things I would like to remind people is that we have a quick reminder that we have a Starlight Glam contest with prizes that you're most welcome to enter. If you'd like to enter, you can go over on the Discord. You can go click on the events page and you can sign up for it there. It will be on the 21st, I believe, at 5 p.m. CST, and there is a category for funny and a category for fancy. And if you win either, you will get your choice of item from the Mog station that is a Starlight-related item, whether it be a costume or a housing item. Shion, good to see you, glad to have you. Silver, good to see you, glad to have you. Deathberry, good to see you, glad to have you. Hello, hope everyone's having a great day. I'm joining while doing brain dead stuff at work on 5 hours of sleep. Deathberry, apparently you and Demins are just sharing the same day today. I hope you get stuff. I hope you get your stuff done, and I hope you aren't suffering too bad. I got to sleep at 6 a.m. and then woken by delivery at 9 a.m. Man, everyone's having a bad sleep day. I wish I had another hot drink. Boom, hot chocolate. All yours, Silver. Okay, let's go ahead and get, the, oh, actually, you know what? We finished, well, I guess we still need to finish 70. So we're about to start Stormblood Dark Knight. So that'll be good. Question, so they did that Heavensward thing where they had you like that mini quest that had you go back, step back through all the little events as a reminder of what your time in Heavensward was like. Does anyone know, did they ever do one of those for Stormblood? Or was it just Heavensward? Yukio, good to see you, glad to have you. I'm gamefully unemployed, so all I have to worry about doing on a little sleep is babysitting 4 hyperactive furry children while others in the house go to work like responsible adults. Well, furry children are important, and apparently so is the stream, so we're glad to have you. Oh man, I've got like a whole bunch of like travel and Christmas stuff and like holiday stuff coming up. So there's a good chance that let's look at the calendar real quick. Preliminary, making an announcement on that now. I will probably, there will almost certainly not be a stream next week, due to the fact that it is the 26th, 27th. So I will be out of town and also the Christmas stuff. And then there probably won't be, I'll still probably be traveling on the 2nd and 3rd. So this may be the last stream for this week, for 2022. Not this today, tomorrow would be. Maybe even because 4.1 kind of is its own thing, maybe we'll do Four Lords tomorrow. Just because then it'll be a good way to go out. Because like because 4.1 is kind of isolated from 4.2 because you're in Alamigo and stuff. But then 4.2 and 4.3, it really is a pair. So maybe, honestly, we'll do Four Lords tomorrow. We'll think about that. When is Live Letter? Live Letter is on the 23rd. And I will be in town for that. I thought I was going to be out of town for that, which was going to be a pain in the ass to lug all my stuff around. But no, we will be doing that. That reminds me, we got new beds for our 2 dogs, and the smaller dogs keeps going to the one for the big dog, even though it's the same material. That's dogs, man. Technically, Wednesday would be the last stream if you do that. Oh, well, yes, right, you're right. Yes, I meant an MSQ stream, but yes, you are technically correct, because Wednesday would be the last due to the live stream. Ah, Elio, fellow master of the dark arts, and yet that is but one of many faces you wear. Slayer of gods, rider of dragons, savior of Ishgard, a hero by any measure who stood against Nidhogg at the steps of faith when others fled. A hero who walks in the light and fights for great causes, and a knight who walks in darkness and fights for the forgotten. A contradiction, some might say. Rubbish, I say, but you tell me, do you yet walk the path? So long as innocence suffers, I will not forsake the abyss. I thought not. Then let us speak as comrades. Ishgard has seen many changes in recent days, and many proclaim it to be the dawning of a new era of peace and prosperity, an enlightened age. Yet, as we both know, the brighter the light, the deeper the shadow. As dark knights, we must remain vigilant for injustice, and be ever ready to defend the weak and downtrodden, now more than ever. It has been a while since we patrolled the streets of our fair city, felt the cobbles beneath our boots, and so forth. A tour from the top might be in order. Why don't we start the last vigil? Sometimes you just need a spacious bed. It's true. Sometimes you just need room. Very true. Yeah, I had to pause the stream for a phone call, but I'm feeling better. Good. It was a stomach bug, so no fever, but also traveling further than a room away from the bathroom. Yeah, Tam, that stuff's the worst. I will say, if I have to be sick, I prefer that over, like stuffy noses. Like, oh my god, because I try to breathe through my nose a lot of times when I'm, like, sleeping. And it just is, the worst. And, like, fevers are just miserable. Whereas, like, I don't know, man. Being stuck going to the bathroom every now and then is bad, but... I mean, the other thing is I grew up with migraines, and they only went away once I threw up, too, so I'm used to... I'm used to things exiting the mouth region, as it were. But can someone check for me? Can someone check that there isn't, like, a Stormblood walkthrough? Like, do people know what I'm talking about? There's a quest. Does it start here, honoring the past? I don't know that that's it. I forget which it is, but there's a quest that basically, like, is a walk down memory lane of Heaven's Word. And I don't know if there's one for Stormblood or for Shadowbringers. Darvin! Good to see you. Glad to have you. How you doing? Yeah, I think it's the Horse Font emote quest, Yukio. It might be it. Okay, thanks, Rowan. As you look on Vortemp's Manor, you but reflect upon your time in Ishgard, the comrades with whom you traveled, and those lost along the way. You seem distracted. Ah, right. You were a ward of House Vortemps. Once upon a time. No, I suppose not. Damnedest thing, but I swear I heard something in your pack break. Bloody hell, is that your soul crystal? What happened to the other half? Forgive me, it seems I am the one responsible. I do not know you, boy. Name yourself. Mist, my lord. I'm no lord, and you're no mist. Don't think I wouldn't know a bastard of the broom by sight. I have a power which I can use to help those in need. Alas, the power requires a tremendous quantity of aether. I thought to draw on natural resources nearby, but in so doing I stole a portion of that contained within your crystal. Forgive me, please, forgive me. I will return it to you, I promise, but I must first ask that you allow me to use a portion. Mist, was it? Who do you want to help? Anyone. Everyone. Look around you. Is not the world filled with sadness and despair? If I can free but a single person from their burdens. I would like to just point out that maybe it might be relevant paying attention to Mist and his disposition and what he's about and how it may or may not be relevant to some of the narrative threadings that become, I don't know, the primary themes of Endwalker per se. He means well enough. Why don't we help him find someone in need and give him a chance to use his power? No, bloody brilliant. Let's believe the mysterious boy with the mysterious power who mysteriously stole a portion of Elio's soul crystal. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it's your crystal, Elio. Either we deal with the boy here and now, or we go along with his plan. And since you're not reaching for your sword, I gather it's the latter. Congratulations, boy. You get your wish. You're not like to find any poor unfortunate souls here, so I suggest we head to Foundation. And if we find no one suitable there, you are to return what you stole at once. Understood? Yes, my lord. Thank you for placing your trust in me. I don't think so. Thanks, Xiam. Pretty good. Been a little busy to catch your stream, so this is the first time in about a while. Hey, I'm always glad when you do. It's always nice to see you around. And yeah, I assumed you know, life gets in the way, so no worries there. Just glad to have you here. I hope that the reasons you've been busy at least have been at the, you know, either entertaining or fun, or if not, at least income-inducing, as it were. KN, good to see you, glad to have you. Ooh, voice acting, cool. If you mean mine, then yes, indeed. I do all the voices for all of them. I hope you enjoy. Well, that can be bad, right? Yeah. Hello, I'm definitely not a manifestation of your regrets. How's it going? Each section of the Dark Knight story is so wonderful. With Frey, with Sidurgu, with Mist. It's just like, there's such resonant and interwoven and interconnected thematic points, but then also where the capstone leaves it is just so good. And when I say capstone, I'm talking about the capstone quest that you have for Shadowbringer's Reach Shop. I think the Shadowbringer version of the paths we walk, etc. is included in the MSQ at the end of it, and then we have something in Endwalker. I think the Shadowbringer version of the paths we walk. Oh! I see what you're saying. Yeah. How in the world could the soul crystal break? If you know about the metaphysic nature of soul crystals, and you know about the metaphysic nature of what mist is and how mist functions, you'll see soon. Poor unfortunate souls! That was exactly what I thought, Demins. Searching for poor unfortunate souls, in pain, in need. Harmonize with Demins, yeah. Yeah, Leo does really great voice. Thanks, V. Just wait till the Moogles show up. Kupo. How did I not know you do voice acting? This is awesome. Well, good. Yeah, I do it for all the characters. School, so potentially. Well, okay, school's potential. That, you know, like that's, you know, school can be, you know, it can take up energy, but it also, you know, get in the long term, it will get you a lot of opportunities, so it's worth it. Should I be worried that Demins and I have the same thoughts from time to time? No, well, yes. Question, Tam, how do you feel when you think about Vidofnir? The best part of the Dark Quest is going back to the quest log and seeing how different it is while wearing the Soul Crystal versus not. Yeah. Actually, speaking of, let's check that out real quick. For all your victories, for all your accomplishments, you cannot turn your mind from the failures, from the mistakes and missteps and the lives forever extinguished. For those we have lost, and those we have lost. Sudurgu and Ral find you deep in thought at the last vigil, and as you speak of past events, the sound of breaking glass rings from everywhere and nowhere. Your soul crystal is split in twain, and you now hold only one half. A young boy with long flowing hair and a somber demeanor reveals himself to you as the party responsible, having sought to harness the aether of nearby natural sources for his own ends. Apologizing profusely, Mist promises to return it to you, after he has used a portion to aid others. His purpose, he claims, is to free those touched by sadness and despair from their burdens. Sudurgu is incredulous, and rightfully so, for the boy is a liar. But you and Ryle are willing to go along with his plan, and so you go begin your search for people in need of succor in the Foundation. The Dark Knight, there's a lot of times reasons to read the text, but the Dark Knight quest most of all. You have my assurances that the remaining funds will be delivered soon. Surely that is enough to convince you to resume work. I've got a source of clients clamoring for me services. Clients willing to pay in full. In advance, I'd be a fool to put you ahead of them. I understand that, I do. It has been an eternity since we first brokered this arrangement, and many of the clients of whom you speak have come to you but recently. I know this to be true. It is one thing to aid the scholastic, milady, but you have got to understand me position here. Bloody politics it is. No man left the chisel till we're paid in full. I'm sorry, but that's the way it's got to be. A blessed day to you. Oh, I beg your pardon. I did not notice you standing there. As you may have overheard, I am funding the restoration of the statue of Saint Valorant, and as you may have guessed, it is not going well. On account of my insufficient funds and my family's growing infamy. My cousin was Sir Ignis de Vesenat of the Heavens Ward. He served the Archbishop faithfully, together with his sworn brothers, great godly men with who were complicit in terrible crimes, if Sir Aymeric and this warrior of light are to be believed. Ignace was distraught when he learned the statue had been destroyed by the Dravanians. He took it upon himself to champion its restoration, but because of these tales, others are reluctant to involve themselves. I do not know nor care if Sir Aymeric speaks the truth. Ignace was my cousin, and a man of the Fury, and I will honor him by completing his legacy. Or so I once believed. Perhaps it is indeed beyond me. Yeah, okay. Especially when one of my classes was entirely during the stream. Yeah, well, hey. Man, I mean, all the more than appreciate you heading on over here when you're able. Vidofnir, pretty cool. Sadu, though, fan self. Okay, well, as long as you're not getting hot and bothered over Vidofnir, you can be sure that you're not Demins. I didn't know it changed. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, if you look through your completed quests at the Dark's text, there's extra while you're wearing your job crystal. Yeah. If you, here, let's, well, we'll do that later, but yeah. We found someone, didn't we? I knew it. I knew we would. I can help her. Yes. Yes, I will make it right. I have the power. Come, let's not keep this poor woman waiting. I gotta go to air potty? I'm gonna assume you mean airport later, but I definitely am reading air potty. So I don't know where the air potty is, and I don't know why you need to pick up your friend at the air potty, Des. But I wish you the best. Is it just a porta potty sailing through? Is it a TARDIS, but it's a porta potty? Is that what an air potty is? Can I get some feedback on this? Is this child a friend of yours? The way he stares at me is somewhat... Do you wish to see your cousin again? Well, yes. I would love to see Ignace again. More than anything. But I know I will not. He walks in Helone's halls, I am certain. Think of him. Think of his face, of his smile, of his laugh. Remember every moment you shared, every memory, and hold that image of him in your mind's eye. And then go to a quiet place you shared, where no one will come. Wait for me there. I really don't understand what this is all about, but since you seem so earnest, I will trust in you and do as you ask. There is a garden to the south of the tribunal, of which we were both fond. I pray you will explain all to me when this is finished. Oop, whoops. Go with her. I will go to Sidurgu and Rao, and bring them with me. Then you will all understand what I can do, and why you must help. That is a promise. Real shitty TARDIS. Care to elaborate? Hey, Demins, care to elaborate on the Vidofir situation? Hands over the mic. Come, tell the class. TARDIS on the spot. Yep. Well, there is that one video of a porta potty being lifted by a tornado. A TARDIS, if you will. Oh, beautiful, guys. You're all monsters. God damn it, yep. It ain't a real secret. I want Vidofnir to back them thick dragon cheeks up on me. Look, Demins has wanted Vidofnir to throw it back since the day he laid eyes on her, okay? It's a running gag. He ain't ashamed. Someone in our community had to carry the furry torch, and Demins decided to be the one to carry that torch, let's just say. Then you will all understand. Totally a thing a trustworthy person says. Yeah, definitely nothing shady. Well, and also when he refers to us only as we. You know. And for those of you who have been joining book club, we recently were reading some of the short stories in Chronicles of Light. I would like to remind people that for those of us who were there talking about the Horsefant story, the place that Horsefant and Francel met is basically out here. Because they mentioned the gazebo. So basically me with Magni. Got it. Oh, finally! Someone wants Magni. Hey guys, maybe Magni at last will find his Nama. Thought it was more of a sitting gag. Oh, that was good, Tim. It's a gag to you. To me, it's a way of life. Certainly something you want to be used. Jesus, guys, we are only 20 minutes in the stream. You're already going raunchy. Ask him to show you his little son. And he mentioned a Forshaman makes me teary-eyed. Yeah, KN. Well, we were, if you've read the Chronicles of Light, there's a wonderful tale about the meeting of Francel and Horsefant, and it's a wonderful story about just Horsefant in the years before we meet him. If you have not read the Stories of Light, so there is Tales from the Calamity, Tales from the Dragonsong War, there's Tales from the Twilight, there's a bunch of different tales that you can all of them are accessible online over on the Lodestone. And none of them are required to understand anything in the game, but all of them will deepen the characterization of certain characters and maybe lend some more credence and understanding to their backstory. Super not required reading, but definitely worth reading. Your friend has arrived. He has brought companions, I see. No, it cannot be. Ignace, is it really you? Oh, praise Helona, you're alive! You're alive! My dear cousin, how it warms my heart to see you in good health. I pray you will forgive me for my lengthy absence. Don't be foolish. There's only joy to see you returned. Come, we must go to your father and mother at once. How they will weep in the sight of you. I cannot. Better for them to mourn me as the son who gave his life in service to his archbishop and to his home. I have heard that you yet labor to see the statue of Saint Valorant restored. Know that I am grateful beyond measure. I am undeserving of your praise, cousin. For all my efforts, the statue remains a shattered ruin. But seeing you here, so full of life and light, fills me with renewed conviction. I will see it through, I swear to you. And if you have indeed done the things they say, then perhaps it will earn you a measure of forgiveness. I love you, cousin, now and ever after. Look after my parents, and yourself. I don't know how you did this, but thank you for bringing him back to me. But you must know he is not safe here. I pray you help him flee the city. She's right. Ishgard is no place for a man of the Heaven's Ward. We will sneak him out of the city. The fewer the better. Meet us at Falcon's Nest after. We have much to discuss. Decoy! Good to see you. Glad to have you. I might not be his Nama, but I'll deal with his little son. Best of both worlds. All the fun, none of the obligation. It's gotta be a record for how quick we became D-Gen. Yeah, you guys are getting bad lately. Is that Tales from the Dragonsong War? I'm 99% sure it's Tales from the Dragonsong War. Or is it not? No, that tale is... Let me, here, I'll check. I'll pull it. Oh, actually, I have a copy of Chronicles right here, don't I? Oh, did I move it? No. Because for some reason, they sent me 2 copies of Chronicles of Light. And when we raffled one off to Jan, I actually had to buy Jan a separate one because there was no easy way to mail it to him in where they were located. The Walker's Path, that's Tales from the Clement. Yep, it's Tales from the Dragonsong War. It is... which tale is it? It is... I think it's one of the last ones, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's Xenos. No, maybe it's not. Display of ingenuity. Here, I'm just gonna look at the table of contents. Someone else might know and might already have said in the chat. Tales from the Dragonsong War. Vows Unbroken. What Remains of a Night. The Dream of the Dream. Words Seed, Thoughts Unspoken. Is it What Remains of Night? I don't think it is. Let's check. No, because that's the night one. Ah, here it is. It is Vows Unbroken from Tales from the Dragonsong War. Have a good night, KN. Sorry I missed you. I hope you have a good one. Would love to see you in the future. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've degen faster. Yeah, well, you guys are all a mess. So 1-1. So 1-1's Magni. Not sure if it means there's hope for me or if I should feel bad that Magni is more desirable. Take what you can get, Des. Take what you can get. Currently trying not to die at work. I think I'm either allergic to something or the something I'm working on with me is getting the air. Oh, Deathberry, I'm sorry. That's miserable when it's also miserable and you can't get away from it. For fear of being seen by sentries, I bade the others go on ahead. We should hurry. The further they take Ignace from Millier, the weaker he will become. I pray we are not too late. Nice, Yukio. Momo, good to see you. Glad to have you. Where are we? Okay, we gotta go a little ways away. Absolutely love the big map with 1/8, right? I don't know if you're being facetious, but here's what I'll say in defense of it if you are. I kind of like it. It makes the map feel wide open, and also, technically speaking, there is another 8th right here. It's just destroyed, right? At Camp Rivers Meet. I like that it feels very expansive. The other thing is that because you can go to the Forelands, you can go to Tailfeather, and from Tailfeather right here, it's actually pretty easy to enter in, or, Sea of Clouds, you can go right from the Vanu Zundu to here. It's not as bad as I think it could be. But, Forgive me. Forgive me. I should have known the magic would not sustain itself much longer. That which you see before you is Ignace, what remains of him. I cannot give the memories form. I can give the memories form. I can breathe them full of life and return them to their loved ones. But as the memories fade, so too does the magic. Aether, formless and free. That which I took, I used to make Ignace and Melia whole. Draw your sword. Reclaim that which was lost. Consume the abyss with Soul Eater. Soul Eater is which one? The final one? Yeah. Gods damn it, I should have known. I don't understand what happened to him. In depths of the abyss, a flame lingers. I just love the map, just hate the inconvenience. Yeah. I'm just, what my point is, I think, like, sometimes that inconvenience can be very good for setting a tone and a mood. But I hear you. It is finished. Good. I've had enough of this farce. Conjuring a simulacrum of a bloody night of the Heavens Ward in the middle of Ishgard. Fury take me, you are a fool. We're lucky to be alive. Your soul crystal is restored then. No, because its other half is missing. Or not. We had an agreement, boy. You would return that which you stole. Forgive me. Forgive me. I return to you that which we has used to give Ignace life. But as for the remainder... 4 more times, it is within my power to do this. 4 more times. 4 more times, and you shall be made whole. You have my word. For a boy with such incredible power, you're remarkably helpless. Not only did you rob Elio of his aether, you imposed upon him to find your people in need. You want to do good? You want to be a hero? You want to help people? Then why weren't you better prepared? I will never be a hero. I only wanted to help. It is not death itself we fear, but the unfinished story, the promise of what could have been. It is enough to break a heart and a man. The shattered pieces of a life will never come together again, but if a glimpse of their loved ones grants them peace that they deserve, then I must. It's your decision, Elio. You are the victim. Perhaps some good may come of this yet. Thank you. Thank you. Together we will make them whole. Okay, Dead Space. Isaac, make us whole. We're not going anywhere, Mist. Even Sid, he may look and act like a chocobo's arse, but he means well. Fine. I'm only trying to put the fear of gods into the little shit. But by all means, go ahead and undermine my authority. Anyway, I'd rather not freeze to death out here in the snow. Let's return to Falcon's Nest and discuss what to do next. I love how the Dark Soul Crystal is Dark Soul Crystal in the sham. What? I love how the Dark Soul Crystal in the sham. I'm sorry, Yuki, I don't follow. Yeah, Isaac. Oh man, who is excited for that Dead Space remake? Everything I've seen has made me more and more excited for it because it seems like they're keeping all the things that I want them to keep, and they're updating, refreshing, and reinvigorating all the other things, and taking all the lessons to learn to, like, oh, very exciting. Seeing this kid makes me think, have we seen a Rogadin child? We have not. There are no Rogadin childs in the game. There's no Rogadin children, and there's no, there's another race. We don't see Hrothgar children. We don't see Lalafell children. That was the other one I'm thinking of. Just what I need. Another child to look after. Am I a Dark Knight or a nursemaid? Even I don't know anymore. But times they are a-changing, and perhaps we Dark Knights must change with them. Long-held truths are becoming lies, and villains heroes. Though I should be glad if I never have to deal with another hero again. No offense, of course, but you are the exception that proves the rule. The righteous are all too uncompromising, and woe betide the man who offends their delicate sensibilities. If anything, I'd say you're too accommodating, but it is your aether and soul crystal at stake. 4 times he swears, but shall hold him to it. Together. In the meantime, you may as well get some rest or attend to other matters. These two can keep themselves company. Maybe I'll find somewhere to take a nap, or a tavern to have a drink. No Viera children either. Yeah, I was pretty sure no Viera children, but I didn't want to say that because I was trying to remember if we see a flashback to Viera children from the Sage Quest, and I couldn't remember. But I do know no Lala children, I do know no Hrothgar children, I do know no Rogadin children for sure. Shape of a Heart and It's Broken right now makes me wonder if the Warrior of Light's mental state in Stormblood. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? I escaped it for now at work. Now to sit and let my head and stomach settle. Good, Deathberry. Give yourself a rest. There's Viera babies, but they all use the same model as the rest of the babies. Yeah. There's a Lalafell child at Blackbrush Station. Oh, the adoptive child? Or here. Let me see what let's seeing as we're about to do anyways, let's check Blackbrush. But what I'm talking about is child Lalafell, not a young Lalafell. Because what I mean is, like, child model. Because, like, you could also argue, oh, there's a child Lalafell because of the adoptive row father that one has a gold saucer. But that's not really what we mean. A shame we didn't create Hrothgar kid or female models as NPCs and Shadowbringers would have helped make story parts more poignant. How so? I don't know whether that would have added necessarily or changed. I don't think it would have made it more poignant. It would have been nice, but I don't think it would have changed the point of any of the scenes in Shadowbringers. Unless you specifically mean the Hrothgar over in Amarang. But then again, I don't think you need to see those characters to make it more poignant. If anything, I think having them described and only from his perspective is more powerful, at least to me. This is Blackbrush, right? No, sorry, this is Ulez. I don't know why I went to that instead of Blackbrush. Obviously, Blackbrush is up here at the inn. I literally was at the station. You mean the trolley portion? Yeah, I think that's probably what they're meaning. There are Lalafells that play children in the MSQ at Blackbrush, but they're just regular Lala model. Yeah, I'm more talking about, like, Lala, like, children. Are we talking about any that are in the MSQ, or is this, like when, if you do a start in Ul'dah, is that what people were referring to? A little Hrothgar sounds cute, just a little lion. Yeah. I mean, we may see them, yeah. I wouldn't say, like, if we ever see Eorzean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, Rogan and children. I'm assuming you just guys meant the Blackbrush Lalafell for the MSQ, or unless it's one of those guys. Any dialogue? No. I expect them to look like Ronso kids and 10, a little lanky, both kitty features. Yeah. I would say that 10 on the whole, if you're gonna use like anything as a measuring stick for a guess, 10 is the way to go. Yeah, little Hrothgar. Yeah, Magnus with the flashbacks or Baja as well. Yeah, but I don't know that necessarily makes any of that more. I mean, like, the only thing I think you could say more poignant is potentially choosing to make Misaja and, like, the whole thing with the queen make her Hrothgar a Hrothgar leader instead of a row leader. Like, I guess that might be a little bit more poignant, but, you know. Also, we're going to be doing a monk today because we are going to be an Alamigo. And the 4.1 trailer has us as a monk, not a samurai. However, during 4.2, 4.3, and 4.2 onwards, we will be a samurai. Imagine Moonbrita as a kid or a teenager with Urianger. Well, honestly, there's actually quite a few good stories that talk about that. I mean, there's a lot of, like, info in EE1 that reference that. There's side quests that reference that. There's a lot of little bits that give us a lot of idea of what that time was like. We ever do Temple of the Fist as Monk, Elio? Yeah, Yukio. So my plan, I think, so I was just thinking about side dungeons today because we haven't been doing them at all up to now. My plan is to probably wait until what I either want to do is I want to make the time between Shadowbringers and Endwalker a time where we go and do, like, all the job quests. Like, take a huge, quite a few weeks and just, like, do all the little, like, side quests, do all the little things that will make Endwalker way more powerful because Endwalker references all sorts of stuff. I either want to do that or I want to finish Endwalker, and then before we do 6.x, I want to go back and do, like, all the, like, the side dungeons and side content stuff we missed, or a lot of, like, the side quests, and we'll see which way we do it as we get closer. For right now, though, we're keeping the propulsive movements. The thing is, though, it does feel to me like there's, like, quite a few months in between, like, the plot, especially, like, 5.3 to, like, starting with 5.4 to 6.0. There's, like, really a lot of implication that quite a bit of time does pass, like, quite a few weeks or quite a few months. So taking time there also makes quite a bit of sense. Okay, guys, who's ready to get on to 4.1? Can I get some gobble brooms or at least some other emotes for the hype? Not saying it's absolutely necessary, just that it would help make a point. But what point? I mean, decides why but like, what point would it make? That's my point, is is I don't, how does that strengthen the point other than just, like, add an extra, like, detail? You know? What Moonbreed and looks like, pretty sure she was taller than him. Yeah. We know that was true because Urianger didn't have his growth spurt until his 20th summer. Did they carve the Temple of Fists with tools or actually use martial arts to break the stone? I don't know. I don't know if they'd specified that. I wonder if the EE2 would tell us. Still a shit ton of side quests in the locked dungeon. I understand, man. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, I've also done a lot of them before on my main. So, yeah. Thank you for the double brooms, my friends. So, let us begin. Oh, this is where you get the psych up.
Come to see how we're getting on.
Hey, voice acting. I can eat.
We've made good progress since we took back Alamigo, but there's one big issue we still have to address. Leadership. The Domans had Lord Hien ready and willing to take the throne, but we've got no one like that here. Theodoric was our last ruler, and he wasn't called the Mad King for nothing.
Suffice it to say, our people have had their fill of kings, which means we need to find a new way forward.
If only it were that.
Hunter, Nightwing, good to see you, glad to have you.
His uncle has an opinion. For the time being, we're just going to have to keep leaning on General Aldin and the Alliance for support, and see if we can't find a solution together. Something tells me we're going to be hosting a lot of meetings in the near future. But if that's what it takes, I'm ready to talk till my jaw aches. The reach is yours, Nago. Don't do anything I wouldn't.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Ah, there you are.
The boy!
Over for you. But don't worry, it's nothing bad. That said, this might not be the best place to talk. Will you join me?
I love that 4.1 really is just about, like, geopolitical complications. I mean, honestly, 4.2 is as well.
I'll get to the point. Might you be interested in a spot of adventure? After all, we were adventurous before we were scions, were we not?
AC, that's a good pitch for a variant
After routing
dungeon.
the Imperials and liberating Alamigo, I reckon we've earned a bit of respite, don't you? And what better way to spend it than by returning to our roots? So, what say you? Shall we call on Alphino and go adventuring?
Twist my arm, why don't you? That face on Elio is not a good face. Nightwing, I see one of your videos, the story of a memorial for Mighty. I must say I was in shock, so as I was aware of the dead of light, but I was never having the idea it was inspired by the true story. Well, I'm glad that we could bring that to your attention, man. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you continue to enjoy our other videos. It's good to see you, glad to have you here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. Did they ever say what happened to Theodoric or his corpse? I vaguely remember. Let's check E2, because that's worth knowing. Because I vaguely remember something like that, AC, but I want to make sure that we get it right. Hey, Kirlea! Good to see you, glad to have ya! I just replayed that part in New Game Plus as Eliana said the same thing about the face. Yeah. Probably, I bet you it's probably... There's two options. It might be actually an EE1. Because EE1 talks more about the history of the palace and the Mad King and what happened to him. Yeah. If I don't find it quickly... AC, I may just ask that you, oh my god. AC, I just may ask that if you want to find a primary source on it. Because the thing is that the EE2 kind of talks more about Alamigo after its liberation compared to the section in EE1 that talks more about pre-liberation. No, it should be before Garlemald. Yeah, there we go. Theodoric's reign in 1546. No. Though Theodoric had purged the Fist of Rauger, his brutality did not stop there. In 1557, the people finally revolted, and they stormed the palace. The Corpse Brigade was loyal to the Soulful Nishman, fled alike, so did the King of Ruin. Reign end. Friendless and surrounded. The victory peasantry was to be snatched away by the Garlean army. The Imperial peasantry was to be snatched. The Imperial troops had been stationed just north of the waiting king's demise. They came swimming down. Doesn't say specifically about Theodoric here. I'm sure that there's more detail on it. Because there's quite a bit of lore on Theodoric, both in like weapons lore and a lot of other places as well. US or U? I am US Nightwings. Though we have our Crystal Curl is our main home base. Speaking of, if anyone would like to join our SFC, they're more than welcome to. Just wanting to say this on stream. American lovers are eating good this month. Oh yeah, because well, try not to do spoilers, Yukio. Try not to reference stuff that people may not have done Starlight yet. Any reason the Monk of the Fists of Rauger didn't shave their head? Also, well, why would they necessarily shave their head? That's not part of their just because we have an association with monks and shaving their head in our world does not necessarily mean that's an associated practice practice with them. Like for them, the head style thing is part of their thing. Also, do you have to be a spiritual person enlightened somewhat to be a monk? I mean, I think you're thinking about monk in a... Monk can be a very broad general concept, right? Like, there are very different types of monks in our world, let alone in another. I would say spiritual also becomes a somewhat relative thing as well, especially in a world like 14. So I would say spiritual, yes, enlightened is relative. Well, don't worry too much, Nightwing. The benefit is that by 7.0, we're going to have crossover between physical data centers as well as... So you'll be able to still hang out with us. And we also have some EU members as part of our community who I'm sure would still love to play with you. You could always make an alt Nightwings. Yeah. I don't think 14 religions have as many hair hang-ups as IRL. Yeah, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, that... It would be like saying, well, why don't monks... their practices around chakra and like they're a combination of Zen Buddhist monks of combat monks like Shaolin monks it's a pastiche of the concept of monk in our world put into like one thing and also reinterpreted for their own. Like, for instance, it seems to be that the, like, shaving of head and becoming, like, a monk, like a traveling monk in, like, a Japanese sense, like, happens with Gosetsu, right? I guess that's technically a spoiler, but, like, you know, when he starts learning the way it's Shugendo and all that. Awesome, Nightwing. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I'm loving playing Monk. Good, Shion. Yeah, Monk can seem like a lot, but actually, like, once you understand the basics and fundamentals of Monk, it's really not any harder than any other jobs. The only thing that is harder is that it is faster. Like, yes, there's a lot of the combos, but, like, when you understand that you're really not, like, you're just going through two different possible rotations effectively most of the time, it's much less overwhelming. Right then, let's go and find Master Levier. Actually, leave that to me. I want you fresh for our little adventure. Wait for us by the 8th Rite, and we'll be along shortly. See you there. Jesus Christ, Ellie was taller than Arenvald. You'd think I'd get used to that, but I'm just so used to playing a Hero. Oh. Hardest thing about Monk is having no range attacks. It's true. I guess, but for me is you have meditation, right? So, like, you just charge that in the meantime. Whereas, like, you can be out of Kenki gauge for Sam, and you're just boned. Nice glam, Elio. Thanks, Carolea. Yeah, I tried to do the corresponding job armor for whenever we're playing what the corresponding job for that section of the game is. And you can always... So the reason that we know that 4.1 is Monk is the 4.1 trailer, it's Monk. But we also know that the 4.2 and onwards, it's Sam. There are definitely canonic answers. Are you cold? My character in the real world? In the real world, I'm cold because it is currently -5°C in the room I'm in, or 22 degrees. I think that's relatively right. That might be off by a little bit in my calculations. 22 F in C. Nope, -5, I'm right. Greetings, Elio. 'Twould seem we are to accompany... Oh, here. 'Twould seem that we are to accompany Arenvald on some manner of escapade. Have you any idea what we've gotten ourselves into? Allow me to explain. It'll be something of a history lesson, but I'll try to be brief. No snoring, if you please. Actually, I'm sorry to hear that. No, it's just very cold here, and I'm in a room that's just not incredibly insulated, but I don't mind it. Especially once I'm streaming and talking to you guys, I actually heat up pretty decently. I'm actually gonna take that off because I like my outfit today. I got my vest, my button up, but I also got a little, my tie, I don't know if you can see it, has little cactars on it. Turn on the heater. Oh, the heater's on. The heater's absolutely on. And I also have, like, you can't see it, but I have like a kotatsu situation going on where there's a heater right next to my feet and a blanket that covers my desk exit. So I definitely, I pre-plan. I know what's going on. Now that the events I would speak of occurred before the occupation, back when Alamigo was still a monarchy and Theodric sat the throne. A uniquely brutal despot by all accounts. That he was. The King of Ruin suffered no rivals, real or imagined, and his dispute with the monks of the Fist ended with Ralger's Reach being burned to the ground. In the latter years of his rule, he was seized by the unshakable belief that unseen forces were conspiring to steal his crown, and so he ordered that every soul with a claim to the throne be executed, including his own family. The wealth of the poor sods he put to death became the property of the king, and it said that these royal treasures were hoarded somewhere in the palace. Thus was born the legend of the Mad King's Trove. Ah, I believe I see the direction of our adventures is to take. I assume you have a mind to unearth this hidden bounty. You assume correctly. And would I also be correct in assuming that the legend is widely known? Others must surely have gone in search of your prize, tempting as it seems. Well, of course, we won't be the first to make an attempt. Following Alamigo's liberation, more than a few eager soldiers turned the place upside down in hopes of claiming an easy fortune. But even after scouring every room from dawn till dusk, they uncovered not a single coin. Their gold lust strained away as quickly as it had come, and the legend of the Mad King's Trove remained simply that, a legend. But I see you have no intention of letting that story end there. What is the self-respecting adventurer would? Imagine the three of us, delving into decades-old mystery. Tell me that the thought doesn't set your heart a-racing. Thank you, Ray Ray. I feel like I'm smart. One of my partners, I have not bought new clothes in a long ass time. I just didn't have the money, but one of my partners took me out to get new clothes, and now I tossed out a lot of my old stuff that I've been wearing for the better part of 10 to 15 years, and so now I have an outfit a set that is basically like 5 button-ups that I love that are interesting and visual. I have a couple of vests, and I have like 3 pairs of blue jeans that are really nice, and that is basically my entire wardrobe. I also have now thermals, like a thermal layer that I can wear underneath everything, and it's a good setup. Good shit. Elio with the drip. Thank you, Rowan. Oh, Nightwing. Yeah, no worries about the cold. Yeah, I'm used to dealing with it. I'm used to living in a place that's like that, and it's not too much of problems. But I appreciate your empathy. That face living in an average 30°C climate. Yeah. It depends on the time of year. So like right now outside, what temperature is it outside for me? Okay. Feels like, because that's always lies to you. Okay. -5 in C. It currently feels like -15 degrees Celsius right now is what it feels like outside. Excuse me? Tie with cactars? Rowan, I don't know if you know this, but I am a very big cactar fan. I have multiple cactars up in the background. I have a cactar t-shirt over there. I have the cactar tie. I have my cactar piggy bank. I have quite a few. I'm a very big cactar fan. When you gotta dress for the occasion, but you want to still subtly wear something nerdy. I am classy, but nerdy. Okay, I found a source. I think it's an old post on forum by the devs called The Last King of Alamigo. It states how Theodoric ended his life. AC, can you do me a favor? Can you let me know which dev it is? Just because I just want to make sure that it's reputable. But if it is, sweet. I'm new to your streaming, and I do apologize if I put some questions. Feel free to tell me off across my boundary. No, sorry for bad English. It is a second language. Nightwing, no worry. First off, no need to worry about language. Even if you say something and I don't quite understand, I'll just ask if you could try again, and I'll try to get it. I'm very patient. Don't worry about that. And also, feel free to ask questions. We're very open here and very friendly, and we'll take breaks and stuff to talk about lore, talk about stuff. So do not feel bad. You're most welcome here. Yeah, isn't that every day, Dest? Jubilant, you're not wrong, but I just straight up wear shirts that are just like, hey, look, I like Star Wars, I play D&D. I mean, but I do as well, Dest. I'll wear Max Rebo and the boys. I'll wear all sorts of nerdies. I think every shirt I have, is either Cactar or Star Wars or Katamari or it's either that or Rowlet from Pokemon. It's that, and those are my undershirts for putting under this, and then I'll have button-ups that are nicer like this. Sounds like a great new wardrobe. Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah. Holy hell, as someone that has only seen snow once, I'm so jelly. Kira Leia! Okay. So here's the thing about snow. Snow is very pretty. But when you have 5 months of snow in a row, you're just like, Jesus Christ. The other thing is it's not only if you aren't used to cold, real cold. I mean actual cold. If you're outside without major protection on, you will die relatively quickly cold. It's not that bad if you can deal with it for a week or a month or whatever, but again, when you're dealing with it from the better part of November to March or April, it's fuck. It weighs on you. But yes, snow is very pretty. I'll just say there are many downsides. Would Cactar tea be something you would want to try if it was in a cookbook? Oh, hell yes, I would try that. Ah, man after my own heart. Yes, you're welcome, Rowan. Thank you so kindly. Yeah, no worry. Again, just if there's one thing we try to emphasize, it is being welcoming. I'll put it in the Discord, but I'm still unsure because I don't know how to check. Yeah, no worries, AC. Yeah, if you just want to toss it in there, if you want to at me with it, that'll be very helpful because, like I said, it's very hard for me to find information sometimes if I don't have a lot of time to check. And also, Nightwings, don't be afraid to come join our Discord. It's also a very sociable and friendly community. If you want to, even if you're EU, we have other EU players, and even if people can't play with you right now, I'm sure people would still love to help out. Is Deadpool having a good time? Deadpool he does have a good time. So he can't be out too long because his paws will get too cold, but he loves playing around in the snow. Once a weather pattern is a way of life rather than occasional novelty, you grow quickly to hate it. Yeah, that's a great way. Demins, that's an excellent way to put it. And again, it's not even that snow is the problem there. I don't mind being the snow. I mind the cold. If it was 60 degrees Fahrenheit and snowed the same amount, I would love winter. But because it's cold, I'm like, ugh. Sweet, awesome, Nightwing. It's good to have you. Snow pretty, but managing it is obnoxious. Also the time of year when it melts, then refreezing ice sheets is gross. Yeah. I'm also just a much bigger rain fan. I love rain. Give me thunderstorms. If my perfect weather is make it 60, low 60s to high 70s, 5 to 6 days a week, thunderstorms endlessly, and then 1 to 2 days a week where it's sunny and nice. Because I'm a weirdo. Bundling in all the layers, cleaning off your car and driveway every time it snows, sometimes multiple times a day. A road seemingly never treated, but they don't have alligators or tornadoes. The thing is, we do have tornadoes here, and also Well, but to be fair, we also have like it will snow like 30 inches and the streets will be cleared like within a couple hours because like the infrastructure for clearing streets is just on the ball. All of what Elio said about snow is why I love living in the desert. Yeah. Loaf of dog slinking into the snow makes me... It's funny. He'll like jump off the top of our porch and like he'll like disappear into snow if it's deep enough. It's very cute. And then you'll just see him like, he doesn't like run in snow. He hops like a bunny. He goes like boop, 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 boop. It's very, very cute. I love snow, but I'm happy that I don't live in Michigan anymore, yeah. Jalali, good to see you, glad to have you. I prefer all that melting in swamp-ass Florida. Can't stand heat, especially humid heat. I do prefer snow over rain. At least I don't get drenched in like 5 seconds. I mean, that's the thing, right? We all got our druthers. Ain't that be how it is. I'll get Deadpool in a second. But actually, while I do that, reminder, sadly, to do this thing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, yada, 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 all the usual YouTube things for the channel. If you'd like to support us, you can go join our Patreon over on patreon.com, and you will be able to get your name in the title thing above me, which actually needs to be updated. And you also will get fun rewards for the Discord and other rewards besides. Beyond supporting us on Patreon, you can do things like giving us super chats that will go towards our current funding goal, which right now is to buy a little chibi figure of Elio from a custom person that does it on Etsy to have it as background decor. And also that money goes towards paying for food and paying for Deadpool and other stuff like that. On top of that, you can also acquire memberships, will allow people in the chat to have all sorts of access to emotes and have a wonderful good time. For those of you who use emotes, now would be a good time to Grubby Boom. Deadly, good to see you, glad to have you. I'm glad that you could finally catch one. It's good to see you and glad to have you, and I hope you enjoy both here and in the future. Summit, good to see you, glad to have you. I like light drizzles, but rainy season here just makes you feel miserable. See, I'm a weirdo. Give me thunderstorms endlessly. Like, I also don't mind getting caught in downpours because I don't mind having an umbrella, or if I get drenched. I love being drenched and then getting home, taking off the, like, wet clothes, and then, like, getting dry. Like, something about that I just adore. I feel you with the winter weather. I used to live further north than I do now, but I'd rather deal with cold than heat. Yeah. Gobble Booms! Thank you for the Gobby Booms, everyone. Oh, V, thank you for the 5 Eorzean Archives memberships. Thank you, Ray, for all the links. Do a super shoot. Do a super shoot. Super chat to make Elio say weird shit, and it's all worse because it makes Deadpool happy. The way Elio gets tired of snow is how I view typhoon season here in the Philippines. The rain, yeah. Also, like typhoon system, like a typhoon. We don't, Yukio. It's unless you're in like Florida, unless you're in like the Gulf area, Yukio. We don't get that same level. So bad thunderstorms here don't reach that same degree. I'm gonna go get Deadpool, and then we'll continue on with the story. One moment, buddy. One moment. I gotta plug in my headphones, because my headphones are dying. Because I forget to plug them in every day. Ready? 1, 2, 3, oofda. It's the boy. You're very good. I gotcha. Would you like to get down? Yeah. Time to get down. There you go. I'll give you one more, but you gotta go upstairs. Okay, come on. Come on. Oh. I love that floof so much too, Bean. I love that floof quite a bit. Very, very deeply. I wish I could, like, bring him to FanFest. Puppy. Yeah, the other one thing I missed from living in Florida was the afternoon thunder showers. Yeah. Yeah, luckily the Deadpool likes thunderstorms, so he's good with that, so I don't have to worry about that. November next year, you should make them Gobby Booms like Turkey Gobble. Yeah, super easy access theme. Oh, speaking of, I was surprised with this. I'm gonna be in Disney World in February, so I may have to take time off from stream for that, or like, I mean, I guess there's not really anything I can do at Disney World that's Final Fantasy related, but so I may be off for a couple weeks in for a week in February. Just be pre-warned. We'll still have a video go up, but I may be off for stream. We'll figure something out. We'll make sure that there are replacement days. So either V or Ray or part of the crew will make sure to be running events that we'll have going on then. So there will be stuff going on. Emmett, good to see you. Glad to have you. He's part of your cosplay. He is your minion. Yeah, Devil is definitely my minion. Oh my god, he's such a cuddly boy too. He's so very good. Just do Kingdom Hearts stuff at Disney World? They don't have Kingdom Hearts stuff there. They really don't. Just bring Keyblade and just like walk around. Disney bound, but it's 14. Yeah. Alright, let's get going. The news of Doma and Alamigo's liberation has kindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the imperial provinces of Dalmasca has already risen up in rebellion, which means the Garleans must surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Arenvald, have we any clues as to where we might begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nosing about the palace isn't like to get us anywhere, so we'll probably need to, ask around. Would that be another way of saying no? Well, yes. I see. In that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied Archivists and request access to the records seized from the Imperials. The Garleans are meticulous about such things. If they uncovered the trove during their occupation, the event is certain to have been recorded. In the meantime, the two of you can track down those who worked as the palace servants and officials in Theodric's day. Given that they would have been at the very least 20 at the time, you will be looking for people who would have seen 40 summers or more. Anything that can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful, so be sure to listen well. Arenvald, pray, try your luck in the fringes and peaks, whilst Elio makes the rounds in the Alamigan quarters. Ha! And there I was thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We can't meet afterwards at the Gilbard's gate. Yeah, last time I was there, there were some pins. I did find a couple of Kingdom Hearts pins, but that was it. In Tokyo Disney, there's more Kingdom Hearts stuff, but sadly, not nearly as much here. Bring a Keyblade and just start beating the shit out of Aladdin. Somehow I think that's frowned upon. Thanks of Disney questions. Do you think Alvino would have a bad time in Space Mountain? No, I think you would have a much worse time on Splash Mountain. There's one thing you can do at Disney World for FF. Midgard's design was inspired by Epcot. Was it? I've been to Epcot a lot. That's surprising. Oh, do you mean the FF7 remake Fantasy Future World was inspired by Epcot? Because, like, Midgard, I can tell you from having spent a lot of time both in 7 and at Epcot, like, Epcot is like a futurism of like an optimistic future, whereas Midgard is like an industrial hellscape. So I'd be really shocked if like original 7's Midgard was inspired by it. Very different. In the place, nah. In the palace, nah. Not me, lad. Surely you've heard stories of the Mad King. He used to hold public executions up on the divine audience. Anyone, and I mean anyone, suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Suffice it to say that I stayed as far away from the place as possible. Actually, Deathberry, in a rare event, the Goofy and Donald mascots in Disneyland wore KH gear and walked around the park. Oh, that's super cool. Is there any footage of that? Imagine if they made this part of Trust with Arenvald and Alfino, but who would be our third? So, I mean, AC, it's gonna be. So, starting in not 6.3, but in like 6.4 or 6.5, it will be a duty support. And our third will probably just be a random Alamigan mercenary or something, or they'll like add a character that makes sense, or they'll just like hand wave it. Or well, I guess they can't make it Arenvald and Alfino because the way that they fall in from the top, so they'd have to retool the quest a little bit if they were gonna do that. You want to hear of an old maid's stories, do you? Aye, well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. We'd only see his royal majesty when he deigned to attend the executions he'd order, and after a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. They say he started seeing assassins in every shadow, and wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of it left me in a cold sweat. Monago? I guess Monago could make sense, but she's supposed to be minding the Reach, right? So like if Lise had still been there, it would have made sense. But Minago not, he's kind of like already has her hands full in responsibility at that moment. You know. I was about to make the comment Splash Mountain. Somehow the boy just isn't very buoyant. If you like recommendations and stuff to do at Disney World. Oh, so Deathberry, I would, sure, but I just so you know, I've been to Disney World. This will be about like the 12th time I've ever been to Disney World. So I've been many times. It'll be the 12th time and the 3rd time as an adult. I had grandparents who lived like next door, like a mile away from Magic Kingdom. I mean, maybe more than a mile, but like very, very close to Magic Kingdom. So I was very, very lucky to like go quite a few times between the ages of like 2 and 16. Coltonay and Hoary Boulder, I guess you could say AC, would be 2 of the people I could think of in terms of B tier. I used to go there quite often. Can't say anything more about. So recent additions, I will say the recent additions, the Avatar Land addition to Animal Kingdom has phenomenal. Galaxy's Edge is just awesome, dude. Galaxy's Edge is amazing, and like Smuggler's Run is so good. I look, if you like Star Wars, you have to go to Disney World. Also, fuck Disneyland. Don't go to Disneyland. Disneyland's not nearly as good as Disney World. Emmett, oh my God, thank you for the $20. Was there a message? I've been having such a hard time the past 2 weeks, getting laid off my job and having a family member in hospital. Here's some money for making my day a little brighter. Emmett, I promise to use that money meaningfully, but like also make sure you're saving for you, man, too. Like especially if you don't have much resources because of your job. Like, but seriously, I do very much appreciate it, especially with that. Thank you. Let me know if there's something I can do, like a little funny voice or something for you, man. But yeah, Deathberry, if you have any specific, maybe there's something you've done that I haven't thought about before. Why would he have a bad time at Splash Mountain? Because he's not a good swimmer. Not from the tone, but from the layout, yeah. Imagine Justinian being forced into writing it. It's a small world. That is hilarious. I'm gonna say, I like It's a Small World. I'm that lunatic. I go on It's a Small World every time I go to Disney World. I like that ride. I'm weird. Think of it as a bastardization of Epcot. I mean, like, it is the antithesis of Epcot. It is like absolutely the antithesis of it. But if you've seen like, if you look at the like Midgard like future plan thing in the Final Fantasy VII remake, that super gets a very Epcot-y vibe. Justinian spending all his gil on all over the priced churros, yeah. So you same count I do, more or less. My grandma lives down there, so we visit her. Nice, Deathberry. Yeah, mine moved or sometime in my late teens, so I stopped going then. But luckily, since I've been an adult, I've had multiple partners who have wanted to go with me at different points, so I have been able to go a couple times. And I've only been once since the release opened Galaxy's Edge, though, so I only got to do that last time, and it was amazing. And I've been to Galaxy's Edge. Last time I was there was under construction. Yeah, the first time I was there as an adult, it was under construction. I've not had time or money to go. Yeah, I mean, not that you need me to tell you this, Deathberry, but if anyone here likes Star Wars at all, I cannot recommend enough that you go to Galaxy's Edge. Smuggler's Run. I mean, the other rides and stuff are amazing too, but the Smuggler's Run is just. Hey, if it weren't for Disneyland, Disney World would just be a swamp. Disneyland's fine. It's just not nearly as good as Disney World. Never been to Disney, never had time or funds to go, but it's on the list. Yeah, you'd have a great time. It's all good. Just watching the stream and having joined you in the game been helping a lot. Good, Emmett. And again, like Emmett, don't be shy about joining in on like maps. We've got maps after stream and stuff like that. Replace the name of the Shinra Corporation with Disney, and there you go. I don't know that that's the same. I mean, I think there's all sorts of other shady stuff you can say, but like very different platforms and very different evil acts. Poor Crown Tar being barred on certain rides. All the Lalafels can't ride anything. Yeah, I mean, that's the hard thing, right? If you live in California, why would you go to World if you could go to land? I served at the pleasure of King Theodoric, and I lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards, I was. Truth be told, it was the darkest chapter of my life, and one I'd sooner forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which, of course, we were under orders to ignore. So we'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If the hell's bent on finding out what happened in the palace, head down the street here and ask old Arenvald. He was the king's head scribe. I'd love to go to Disney World, but land is so much closer. I haven't gone to Disney World since I was like 7, enough to remember being too short to do much stuff. I mean, like, look, it's the easiest thing in the world to recommend. Like, hey, guys, you should go to Disney World. But, like, I will say, if you're at all, if it at all has been a thing on your list, super worth saving up for. Super worth it. And there's a lot you can do to cheapen. There's a lot you can do to make it a lot more affordable. Both about what you get, about like where you're staying, time of year, how you're doing food. So like they have like meal plans if you that are actually pretty good deals there. You know, there's all sorts of ways to handle it. I've never been to Disney, the main theme park. I go to Cedar Point. Oh, nice, Sam. I've been to Cedar Point. Have you went to the water parks at Disney or the mini golf? I've been to the water parks. I haven't been to the mini golf because I've always been too busy going to all the other. I always spend one day at each park. Shakes fist being stuck on teacup and Dumbo rides due to height. Jellybean, I don't know if you mean that because of Bean or if you mean that because of you. Got to go out soon, so I need to get ready to take Carol. Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all other winter events. You too, Carolea. Have a great day. Yeah, it's great if you love your coaster. Yeah, Steel Venge is insane at Cedar Point. Yeah, could see Thinker being that confused Disney dad in a Hawaiian print T-shirt. Oh yeah, super could see it. I could see them doing like him and Eorzean, like Eorzean with like sunscreen on his nose and like the like little like sun hat and stuff. Yes, I'm Arnold. What do you want of me? You would have me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet if Alamigo is to move forward, we must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Theodoric's paranoia and public executions of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough, but in his last days the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family, a magic which transformed them into fiends of hideous aspect. The resulting monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by the nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, then mayhap it is kindness that the monarchy ended with him. As Bean, I'm 5 foot, so I can ride most things. I remember going to Six Flags when I was younger. Nice. I always say forcing Estinian to wear the ears. Oh my god, that'd be adorable. And I have some doodle ideas for that later. Well, Deathbear, we'd definitely share the art. We'd love to see the art later. Eorzean with more than 5 baby leashes with 5 fire loppers. Yep. Have King Mickey conduct the Eorzean Symphony playing his signature Ultima. Yeah. Disney trip for the Scions. Yeah. That would be a great art. But the idea of the Lalas being stuck on the small rides is hilarious. It's really funny. Man, now I'm really tempted to do a Final Fantasy XIV build and Planet Coaster. Dude, if you do that, just please share that. I'd love to see that. Yeah, I used to play way too much Planet Coaster. Yeah, I know V used to have a whole thing with that. I'd love to see that. Xenos at a theme park. How would an ear cat look on Mikote? That's a good question. I feel like it would be the Mickey ears would cover the ears, right? So like they like sit with the ears back, you know? Estinian, you paid how much for those ears? But the merchants said they were flattering. Tatara would plan everything. Yeah, guys, you guys are on the fucking... I can't read all of this because now you're just having great ideas. Since we're here, why don't we share what we've learned? Allow me to begin then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures, and found precisely none. It's just possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of the trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself. But I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist, or that the Imperials somehow overlooked it. But what of you, Elio? Were your investigations any more fruitful? Turned into monsters? What could he mean by this? Darkness beneath the palace. I wonder. I met an old man in Alighieri who spoke of the palace's subterranean prison, but he said naught of cursed abominations. The Imperial archives were also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. Could this be the scribe fellow have been spinning him a yarn, do you think? Did you believe him, Elio? His fear seemed genuine. If he was afraid, that does lend credence to the tale, though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be so hasty. Arnold's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden, but ere I share my theory, there's a matter I would clarify. Arenvald, you spoke of lighthearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure? It wasn't all pretense, I swear it. But you're right. My father was an Imperial Army. Was in the Imperial Army, a man of Garlean blood. I trust you know what I mean when I say that my Alamegan mother did not welcome my arrival. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was an emerging third eye, like the kind you see in pureblood Garleans. My mother did not care for the taunting reminder of my heritage, and took up a knife. War paint serves to cover the scar. Yeah, Arenvald has had a hard childhood. In the end, she turned me out into the street, and I was left to hunt the alleyways of Alamigo, a feral child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. The best I can say about the years that followed is that I survived, but I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually, I left the city behind me and joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring, and the road that led me into the company of the Scions. I tell you this now so that you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. With the Eldric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Arenvald, and I apologize that I cannot have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Elio, are you content to surrender the treasure to Arenvald's noble cause and claim the thrill of adventure as your reward? Then I should be glad to tell you my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove, if you are minded to hear it. Set of Dairum Yuki. Fending, slaying, aiming, healing, casting. Well, fending actually would be helpful now, because we're gonna have to equip Dark Knight. Elias, good to see you. Glad to have you, man. Let me catch up real quick. You know, when you're a kid and pay less for some stuff, I used to get called out as a scam and trying to get the kid's price when I was in fact really 12. I was just a very tall 12-year-old. Rowan, that happened to me. I was like 11 and I got turned away from trick-or-treating because they thought I was like a 16-year-old. It'd be like the bunny ear from the Saucer on Mikote. Yeah, Tatari would have everyone's schedule. Now at 28.68, I think that checks out. Yeah. Hot damn. Imagine Xenos on the ride. Same uninterested expression while having Asahi next to him throwing up. I have a funny image of Xenos on the teacup ride. Just imagine him like doing like one of like the hammer mini games at fairs and just be like, a test of your reflexes. That, or he just like walks up to like one of the like Darth Maul actors or something and just like starts swinging his sword at them. Gra and Alistair taking turns trying to pull Meteor to every ride. Imagine Tataru being Estinian's coin keeper, to which imagine a 32-year-old man asking Tataru for money to buy a churro. I would like to remind you that it is explicit as of 6.1 he has gotten better about spending money. But yes. However, everyone knows okay if I use some of your ideas when I get off work for Disney Duels. Deathberry, I want to be very clear about this. I want to be clear to all of you about this. If you want to further make my day, making art out of conversations we have here or like members of the community or whatever will make my day. Now, I guess if you're talking about drawing certain members of the community, it's not bad form to ask. But unapologetically, you have full permission for my part to do anything with Helio drawn whatsoever. Like I have the art board up there for a reason. I want to like put people's fan art and stuff up there over time. Yeah, no, please use the ideas here. My mom had to bring my birth certificate everywhere. Jesus, Rowan. I'm slow with my drawings too. Graha begging Warrior of Light to try every new food stand you pass. They call the strange confection Dole Whip. How fascinating. Yep. Yeah. That feeling when your stomach drops. So he didn't have the third eye actually show up. His mom just thought he was and took the knife to his face. Yes, Silver. He never had it. He's not a pureblood. And there's only one single example. Severa is the only example of a Garlean who's not a pureblood who has a Garlean eye. And hers is also weird on top of that because it's black. So usually almost every single case we know of about half Garleans, they do not get a Garlean eye. And they also have the capacity to use Aether. Roller coaster. Good one, Des. Spoiler for the manga maybe, but if I recall, that's a thing everyone in the theme park. Oh, really? That's funny. I haven't read the manga yet. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of different places. But Everlard, good to see you. Glad to have you. Farming one of the best gear sets. Oh, you like the Skalla gear set quite a bit. Oh, cool. Don't ask how much he paid for the hair cord. Merlin would love the pirate's ride. Begin scheming. You really are asking for hentai there, Elio. Look, if someone draws a doujinshi of me, don't think I'm not going to. Well, look, I might not be titillated by it, but I will be incredibly flattered. I do not. Just because. Look, that's on you guys. Merlin might accidentally on purpose shoot someone on the pirate's ride. I don't draw, but I do and have done other things. Oh no. One question: who's going to take the Warrior of Light into the Tunnel of Love? I think it really depends on how you characterize your Warrior of Light. Because to me, like, my Warrior of Light is probably effectively Ace. I don't know about Elio, but like my Lend, my main. That'd be Graha for me. Who isn't? Yeah. Yeah, just bring them on. One, like, just Scion Polycule. Name one non-Scion you want your Warrior of Light to bring to Disney World as +1 during the Scion trip. I take Arameric. I mean, the thing is, the problem you get with that is that I genuinely would be fascinated with just about any character. Like, any non. They're like, there are very few characters in the game that don't have spoken roles that wouldn't be interesting. Like, frick it, man. Bringing a bring a Moogle would be amazing. Sitting the other Ironworks people drooling over the Soren. Yeah. I'm never not going to be down for art drawn. I'm not incredibly flattered about art drawn using a character of mine or me or whatever. Actually, mayhap I would be better if we first adjourned to a more suitable location. In case of a rival treasure hunter overhears our plans, you mean? Good thinking. That was not exactly the reason, but 'tis certainly a valid concern. Let us reconvene within the southern edge of Lochseld. Oh my god. Purple hair bye boy and white haired madman at Disney World. That would be a frickin' pairing. I'm trying to not say their names, by the way. The reason I'm saying it like that is to not spoilers. Raban with Nanamo sitting on his shoulders in Disney World. Yeah, that would be very cute. I'd bring Monago because my Warrior of Light's from the M tribe. Yeah, makes sense, Momo. Right, so I'll try and make a park. I got a roll lore coaster and obvious teacups in mind so far. Yeah, you guys should pitch to Dez some ideas for attractions for his Eorzean Archives themed roller coaster park. Yeah, those two at Disney would be hysterical. Forgive me, it was not my intention to draw out proceedings. I simply wish to have the lock in sight when I explain things. Prior to the great flood of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, the salt lakes you see before you were yet dry ravines, and thus, believe it or not, was the site of ancient city of Skalla, which rose and fell during the Fifth Astral Era. From what we know of that period, the city was already deserted by the time the waters began to rise, having been all but destroyed by the water, yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of Lochseld. Tracy, thank you for the 5 months of membership! It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace, mentioned by Theodoric's former scribe, was not a reference to the prison, but to a place still further below, the ruins of Skalla. I further surmise the Mad King's unfortunate kinsmen were cast down there, not simply out of desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodoric wanted to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying they were meant to guard the Mad King's trove? Precisely. And since we know the court's thaumaturge was involved, we can safely assume that the entrance into the old city will have been magically concealed. Which would explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers and gods knows how many Alamegans never found a trace of the trove. We, however, have a certain advantage which they did not enjoy. Elio, would you be so good as to swim down to the bottom of the loch and search for an underwater route into the ruins? While you do that, Arenvald and I will seek out the ensorcelled portal within the palace. Okay, I'm gonna come to the tea tree. I'm gonna grab a couple of you guys for Skalla. Well, here, you know what? We'll go ahead and I'll unlock it first. But, if you would like to join for Skalla, I need 1 DPS, 1 tank, 1 healer. If you're a tank, you need to be willing to be doing your max deeps that you can and be pulling wall to wall. If you're a healer, you gotta be ready to do them heals and ain't slowing down. If you're the deeps, you better be deeping like you know deeping tomorrow. Adel, good to see you, glad to have you. Watching pizza bake is taking forever. That happens. Watch pot will never boil. I bring Thancred to go to Epcot and do drinking around the world. I've done that before. It's a good time. The purple one would try to get the old man to wear the ears. For me, it'd be Shola. I'd bring Kian. Tracy, good to see, glad to have you. I'd take Ada. At what point in her story, Ray Ray? Although, you know what? That would be really cute. She deserves a better fate. God, I love like this. I love that you go under the water and there's just like the entire ruins of Skalla. So for those of you who aren't aware, Skalla, it was existent at the same time as Amdapor, Mach, and Nim. But there were, as far as we know, there should have been at least one nation state for each of the gods, each of one of the 12. But by the time that the Sixth Astral Era ended, most of them had all faded away. One of the few that we know about beyond the 3 of Amdapor, Nim, and Mach was Skalla. However, we know painfully little about them other than what we see here. The other problem is we aren't particularly clear the lengths to which aspects of Skalla here are actually Alamegan or Skallan. I take the twins. I feel like they deserve a day where they can just be kids for a moment. That's a really good and fair point, Adel. I can heal. Yeah. What would be the one food Estini would be eating all day in Disney World? Is there anything like on a stick? It would definitely be something on a stick, right? Dried squid, he snuck in somehow, yeah. Estini would be eating food on a stick. Yeah, AC, yeah, we're all the same. And pickles, yeah, we're all in the same match. Which of the 12 did Mach worship? We don't know for sure. The easy assumption is that it would have been Naldthal, Rhalgr, or potentially Azima, based on the fact that Naldthal is connected to Ul'dah, Azima connected to Sildi and Baladia, and Rhalgr connected to, I mean, like Alamigo and the Comet, but also the source of destruction and creation. So the wise money is that. We know Amdapor was Nafka and Nim was Oshan. Skalla was possibly the Destroyer. I forget. I feel like it's hard to tell with Skalla because, again, we don't know what's Alamegan and what's Skallan. And that's where the difficulty lies. Yeah. Punch the door, Elio. You come to a worn stone door, standing temptingly ajar. It would appear you have found the entrance into the subterranean ruins. Ah, Elio, it's Alfino. We've searched the prison beneath the palace and found a door concealed by enchantments. Have you aught to report? And you believe it leads to the ruins? Excellent. Then I propose we proceed from our respective entry points and look to meet somewhere in the middle. No, come on, lads. We might as well make it to a race. Oh, come on, lads. We might as well make it a race. Victory goes to the first adventurer to find a treasure. Godspeed. Goshek! Good to see you. Glad to have you. Okay, I'm coming to the tea tree. Oh, that's cool. That's a very cool effect. Xenos and Ali St. Graha are arguing who gets to sit next to you in the Pirates Caribbean ride. Yeah. Hello, Kochek. I get so uneasy with seeing people in underwater caves, lol. Like how I know he can't drown, but still, yeah. All of a sudden, you just hear the Sonic music kick in, the bum 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 bum. Okay. Who's my tank? Okay, Des is my tank. Well, I guess first, who's interested in joining? Come on me if you're interested in joining. We'll start with that and then we'll break it down. I get so uneasy to. I think Ruby Sea Dungeon has a similar effect. Yeah, I guess it depends. Like I'm terrified of the deep sea in the real world. Oh, okay. Well, then this works out well. Okay. Friendly reminder that please do your... How do I put this more politely? I do. Treat this like it's life or death. I don't know. Do your damnedest. There we go. Let's hit it, guys. Skalla time. Launch coaster, Ray Ray's Fantasia, some kind of dance club or something. Elio's Lore Talks, one of those slow track rides through a hedge maze. The drowned city of Skalla. So like this seems to be Skallan, right? But it's just not fully clear. Once you get further into the treasure trove. Dest all you, pull at will. That should not be at that low. Yeah, cool. Make sure that you are doing AoEs if you are not. Okay, let me pull up chat. Cool. Can you get for Neri diatribes? All the drink places that sell booze. Took me forever to get a full Skalla set. I don't know that I love Skalla. I don't even know I shouldn't say I don't love it. I say I don't know it off the top of my head. Right, on my dash on. Oh, my muscle memory is either on Sam or on tank right now. I want that Kelpie as a mount so badly. Is it a mount? Like, is it a mount anywhere? It's not, right? Oh, Hydra pull. They should make a Kelpie mount available. 808, good to see you. Glad to have you. And yeah, no, they should. I mean, it's probably if people ask for it in like the forums and stuff, they actually probably would. They'd probably make it. I don't know. I don't know if they do it a drop from an achievement for probably not from like a dungeon or anything. Maybe make it. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways they could do it. Frick, they could do it from bicolored gemstones if they wanted to. Try to end her before we get hit. Try to end her before we get hit. Sweet. I had to look up Skalla sets. They're very cool. Let me look at them as we pass by them. Well, I guess that's not. That's not very telling in of its. Well, I guess that's actually even cool, even just as is. Very simple, but if anybody here wants them for glam, feel free to take them. Worst case, I'll farm them later. Stormblood dungeons also remind me I got Hell's Lid and Roulette while wearing full winter's gear, which is absolutely the perfect attire for, yeah, tropical underground. Yeah, definitely most fitting. Choose again. It's nice that there's two coffers right next to each other. Unless I'm about to find out that's a mimic. But yeah, so we still see all the sorts of Skalla stuff here. Just so you know, you can pull on. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to handle pulling on, but we should be able to pull on. You gotta pick. You gotta either go commit or don't commit. Because we should. There's no reason that we cannot handle this bowl. The only reason we can handle this bowl is people are playing incorrectly. True North is useful. It depends on the level. Yeah, no. So one, True North right now is not actually particularly helpful because I'm using AoEs. The other thing though is that right now I'm not too worried about maximizing my monk damage because for reasons. Let me try this on real quick. But yeah, no, I know how to use True North and I know how to do positionals if it came to it. Okay, pull when ready. Yeah, when you go. Yeah, Monk is good when you have the rotation down. Is Monk hard to play? It looks fun. Monk's not hard. Monk, you just have to be willing to, like, actually go learn how to play it. And then once you have its rotation down, it's really not that bad. I don't have it down right now because I'm not. This is the first time I've been playing it in weeks because I've been doing other things, and also I don't even play it that much to begin with. But I have bare minimum in terms of knowing kind of what to do. I'm a tank main, so like DPSing is not my strongest suit, especially not on Monk. But we play what is the correct thing for the point in the story, so I have to get used to it. Let's give me that buff. Spriggans! Spriggan die Deutsch? Would someone like to explain the secret fat cat inside of the Hydaelyn doll? For anyone who knows what I'm talking about. Activating transformation. Sacrifice, boom, boom, boom. That'll get him. I can only think of 2 normal dungeons off the top of my head where there's a lot of mimics. Yeah. Well, there's also Doll. These hats are... The Skalla aesthetic is very interesting. See, like, now, once we come into here, it becomes far less clear what's Alamegan and what's Skalla. Or if even just everything in here is Skalla. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That is cool. Glam. Fat Cat you can see inside when one of you is a Mikote, right? Or at least a chance. Yeah, there's a chance to see it. Yep. And it's fucking adorable and hilarious. Yeah, and it's okay. Just make sure, like, this is what I mean, though. Like, if you're gonna take a roll, please make sure that you have gear upgraded. Make sure you're ready to go. Like, otherwise, in the future, it makes me hesitate to, like, want to invite certain people. Because I, like, specifically asking for people to be prepped. Like, I am very, like, open, excited, and, like, when it comes to, like, dungeon content stuff and streaming is the one time I'm, like, well, that or if, like, it's in the T-Savage group, I'm more serious about it because, like, we only have a finite amount of time to stream, and I have a very finite amount of time to do that in the day. And so, like, we can't, like, go slow on dungeons or, like, combat content. Like, this is why. We should really not be wiping, guys. It's a normal dungeon. I love learning new classes. I'll try Monk out more. Yeah, so Emmett, yeah, I think that's the thing is don't, like, the only thing about Monk is that it seems overwhelming because of the ways, like, the attacks combo into each other. But and I recommend this to everyone, if you don't already, you should be going to go look at your, how you're supposed to be doing your rotation on the balance so that you're not, like, doing what you think is correct, but is actually, like, there's, like, you should actually be learning to do the optimal rotation for your job. The other thing about that, though, is that you can learn... Monk does a really good job of kind of teaching you as you go along. So, like, 60 Monk is basically the same as 90 Monk. 90 Monk just has extra, like, GCTs, really, for the most part. So, like, you'll learn the basic... Just 1 second, V. Wait, Des! We aren't, please do not rush in when we're missing a DPS. When I tank, I actually don't use sprints very much because I want the group to keep up with me. No, you should be using sprint though. Like you should be using sprint, and other people should be using sprint and keeping up with you, or also engaging behind you. If you're the tank, unless someone asks you to please pull slower or slow down, like you should be trying to like pull your stacks. By the way, John, good to see you. Glad to have you. Okay, pull out Will's nest. Well, what if their sprint is on cooldown? Their sprint shouldn't be on cooldown. And if it is, then they should be using their, they should be making sure to be using their engage, which almost every job has an engage. Or also, if you're a tank, there really isn't any reason that you should not be able to mitigate and handle about 1 to 3 seconds of a healer not being in range, or of not being like I have close to soloed packs before, so like you shouldn't be struggling to like be fine for a couple of seconds, and it's better to get that, at least your AoE damage going. Stop moving. Stop moving. Ah. If they're using sprint the same as you, they won't be generally. Yeah, it really shouldn't. Also, a lot of the classes have a gap closer similar, so it's easy to keep up. Yeah. I like outrunning my healer. Right, but like your responsibility, if you choose to pick the tank role, your responsibility is to pull and to mitigate the mobs and to make sure that the things are, that you're leading the way and making sure things are going fast. If your healer is staying behind, if your healer is slowing behind, then like it's okay to ask your healer, hey, could you please like, there's no reason that your healers shouldn't be able to keep up with you, especially because they're a ranged class. They don't have to be within melee range. They should be able to OGCD onto you with ease most times. Oh boy. That was the wrong button. Yeah. Like, none of the healers should struggle with that. Like, this is the first dungeon I've wiped in. I never wiped doing, like, 90 content or anything and running ahead. You know, like, there's, or, like, 80 content and stuff. The thing is, Peloton drops you want to do damage to. Yeah, I usually plays range to use my Peloton, yeah. As a healer, I don't like the tank outrunning me. But it is the tank's job to do that. It is the tank's job to be running ahead and pulling the mobs and not slowing down. So, like, it's not... Unless you need to ask... Unless you, like, really struggle with skills, and then in which case you need to ask them, they are doing their job by trying to run ahead as fast as possible. Like, that is their obligation. It's okay to ask them to slow down because you need it, but to expect them to slow down as the baseline is... flip-flopped.
Oh, bugger it.
Yeah.
Are you all right?
The big thing is you need to make sure you're in line of sight, especially if it's not at the very beginning. Like, it's okay to lose line of sight for a second or two with the tank at the very beginning, but otherwise, like, your responsibility as a tank is to make sure that you're pulling as much as you know that can reasonably be possibly taken, and making sure that you get through the dungeon as fast as possible. As a DPS, your job is to make sure that you're not taking aggro and you're doing as much damage as possible. As a healer, your job is to make sure that you are keeping up with the tank and healing them, and then doing DPS whenever you can in the spaces between the absolute minimum healing you can. Now you can, you know.
Aye. Everything's still attached.
Yeah, it's true, Momo, but, like, you can still speed run Sastasha even though you barely have any skills. There's still things you can do, you know? But yes, that's true.
Very good.
Like, Paladin not having clemency hamstrings you.
Fleeing fiends horrid and numerous. How fared you?
Demons, man. Demons.
Much the same, then. 'Twould appear this place is yet inhabited by King Theodoric's kin, or what is left of them. The work of terrible magics, I fear.
I definitely hope we get a variant dungeon of this
Terrible,
area.
aye. But their misfortune is our fortune?
Quite.
Yeah, probably around
12, there is even more
6.4,
than I imagined.
I think. Maybe 6.5.
Oh, I can't wait to see the look on Lisa's face. Thanks for believing in me, you two.
It's worth remembering though, like also, like as a tank, even if you can't heal yourself and have sustain, like knowing how to use mitigation options, like Stone Vigil's a good example of that, right, Momo? In that, like, if you're not using arm's length, Stone's Vigil is, you actively cannot do certain pulls. But if you are using arm's length, you can absolutely run faster through. So if you're using your fundamental mitigation and your arm's length and all that stuff correctly, and your stuns, you can get away with so much more. Also, eating food. Again, I want to really emphasize here, like, John, if you get stressed out because a tank runs ahead, you are within your right to be like, hey, could we do a little, you know, go a little slower or something like that. Like, you can ask for that, but like, don't be annoyed at a tank if they're running ahead, because like that is what they're supposed to be doing. Paladin probably doesn't want to use Clemency anyways optimally since it creates wasted GCD, but it's nice if you don't fully trust the healer. Well, so yeah, so you don't want to use it, but the point being more that if someone fucks up, you have a tool to know how to restore. So for instance, if I'm in 90 content, one of the reasons I never die as a Paladin is because, like in dungeons, is because even if a healer fucks up and misses a heal, I know that in the midst of my Requiescat combo, I can toss myself a Clemency really quick, and I can cover for them, you know? Incubator, good to see you, glad to have you. Ah, yes, back when Arenvald was taller than Alfie. Remember, no spoilers. Arenvald and I forged ahead at a faster pace than we could have imagined, but I was not surprised to find you waiting for us. I suppose it serves us right for challenging the Warrior of Light. Next time we should agree on some manner of handicap. Ah, well, we may have lost Alvino, but think of what we found. Quite. I'm still reeling at the sight of the mountain of riches. What, like have you reeled at the sight of the floating specter, you mean? You should have heard him scream, Elio. Must we dwell on such momentary lapses? We found the Mad King's trove, and that is all that matters. All jesting aside, we must tell the people the good news, and I think Leash should be the first to know. Seconded, this is to be a meeting of representatives from across Alamigo, so she is sure to be in the city. Shall we seek her out? Yeah, so it serves as his recovery. That makes sense. Yeah, so the thing is, in the Requiescat combo for Paladin, you have access to an instant Clemency as part of your rotation because you have access to instant cast on all your spells. Now, the thing is, that means that half of your rotation, you have an automatic recovery option. Whereas, yes, you can also do it in the melee option if absolutely required. But the other thing is that you should be holding on to, like, you could hold on to a Divine Veil. You could be holding on to an extra Sheltron, or a Holy Sheltron, right? Which will give you a small heal and an extra boost for a second. So it's like, all the jobs, like Gunbreaker and Dark Knight have a little bit of a difficulty in that they have less sustain, but all the jobs, all the tanks have many tools to be able to make up for lapses in a moment, not even just as late as 90. So like there's no reason that you should be able to run ahead for up to 3 seconds and keep yourself covered. Like, the worst case scenario is, like, Dark Knight. You throw out a Blackest Night. You're not taking any damage for a second. You're going to get a boost. By the time the healer gets to you, you're only then just starting to take damage. Paladin, you've got your Holy Shelter on your mitigation tools. Plus, let's say, you go ahead and you toss yourself a Clemency because you know it'll get you through. Or we got Aurora plus all sorts of mitigation for Gunbreaker. For Warrior, I mean, you've got Warrior, right? Unless you're Dark. No, Dark absolutely has options. Because Dark, you've got Oblation, but more than anything, like, you have the Blackest Night. Which covers you from 70 to 80 and a 90. Because the thing is, the Blackest Night will absolutely give you 3 seconds, even with an entire squad on your ass, before you get out when then you'll get out an attack in the same time that there's no, if you have tools to deal with this. You can also toss out an arm's length. Honestly, that wipe was all my fault. I was falling behind in heals. It's all good. Elias, sorry. I was overly serious. I was overly serious there mostly because I was in the wrong headspace of being overly serious about that. But this is what I will say. If you think you're going to struggle, just tell me that ahead of time when we're going in. right? And then I can like adjust expectations. But like understand that if I say, hey, I'm expecting to go full force, no deaths, let's hit it, that's my expectation. Now, if you tell me, hey, I'd really like to do this, but I don't know that I can maintain that, I can be like, okay, I'd love to have you, got it. But just like, don't say nothing, right? Or make sure that you always check your gear, right? Always make sure that your gear's on Spark. If you plan to join in, just make sure for time's sake that you do that. But this is the problem. It's like, I love being like inviting and sociable and stuff, but when it comes to like combat content, I get much more serious. And it's the same reason that we have, so speaking of, we created a T Savage Discord, so we have a separate Discord for people who would like to do Savage content, like to team up to do current EX, current Savage, Ultimates, that kind of stuff. If you'd like to come join that, I'll put another post in looking for groups saying, with an invite for that. But the thing about that is the expectation of like you're coming assuming that you're being serious, and serious doesn't just mean attitude in terms of your of like, oh, I intend to clear. It also means you're checking what your gear is, you're going to check what your rotation is, all that stuff like that. So it's just about making sure you check out you make sure you do that. Because 520 gear Xion will still be synced down for Skalla, I'm pretty sure. So that still would have been maxed gear. I may be wrong about that. We'll check after. Ah. Oh, you three. Look pleased with yourself. What have you been up to? I'm glad you asked, Lise. I'm pretty sure you were going to like the answer. You're joking. The Mad King's Trove? I thought it was a myth. So did plenty of people, but they didn't have Elio and Alfino in their party. The credit for finding it should really go to them. As for what to do with it all, I vote that it go towards alleviating the suffering of Alamigo's poor. Then Xion, I might recommend go checking out the balance and go check out the Red Mage rotation. Gods, if there as much as that to say. Arenvald did not exaggerate, I assure you. We could not hope to carry even a fraction of it out on our own. I have taken the liberty of sketching out a rough map of its ruins. If you will assemble a squad of your most trusted freedom fighters, they should be able to follow the route to where the treasure lies. Yeah, Skalla is I-30, 370, so if you sink down, you still would have been maxed. Understood. I'll make sure every coin is accounted for, and that goes for the spending of it as well. Thank you. Oh, and there's one more thing. When the time comes to draw up a plan for distributing the spoils, I would ask that you consult Alfino. I don't have a head for details. I'm not educated. I see that simply handing out sacks of gil won't solve everything, but I couldn't rightly tell you what to do instead. Oh, I know the feeling. I'd welcome any advice you could give us, Alfino. Of course, I shall be at your disposal. Commander! Commander, we've got a problem. Deep breaths. Tell me what's happened. Ah, this is a great part of the story. A mob gathered outside the headquarters, and they started making demands. You best come to see for yourself. In which one, Summit? Do you mean Passage of Arms, or do you mean cover?
Step back, all of you!
Like hells we will! We know who you've got in there!
And you really can't underfend. And also worth remembering that Requiescat combo also gives you a bunch of sustain, not just from Clemency, but also literally heals you as a part of it. So the thing about Paladin is that technically, I think in certain ways you have fewer mitigations, but you have way, you have so much sustain.
Bring her out! Bring her out!
What's going on?
Someone let slip about Fordola.
It's true then. The bitch really is in there. I knew it. I bloody knew it. We demand vengeance! Bring her out! Today we butcher the butcher!
Butcher the... Come on, you don't mean that. We'd be no better than the Imperials if you'd all just calm down.
Calm down! That monster and her thrice damned skulls dragged my man from our home and beat him to death in the street!
Aye, and my dad. That bitch has spilt enough blood to fill a lock.
We all know her crimes. She's a traitor and a murderer. How many of your resistance friends have died at her hands, eh? And here you are, protecting her!
So that's what all the fuss is about. Hearken to me, brothers and sisters of Alamigo.
Hey, who's this?
That's the Bull of Alamigo.
My friends, you are not alone in your anger, your grief, your despair, for it is mine as well. That gnawing pain in your breast, it is enough to bring an old bull to his knees. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, to think not only of the family and friends who were cut down before your very eyes, but to think also of the ones who were abducted, the ones who may yet live. Where were they taken? What became of them? These questions demand answers. I share your thirst for justice, for vengeance. But we will gain only fleeting satisfaction if we give in to our base appetites. We will never know the truth. Now is the time that we, the people of Alamigo, must decide what manner of nation we will build for ourselves, and for generations yet unborn.
The thing that's worth remembering about Divine Veil
When they
is...
look to our example, will they see a people who held fast to their principles, or one who cast them aside when tried?
The thing about to understand about Divine Veil too is Divine Veil is a really powerful mitigation for yourself that happens to also help the rest of your team. Whereas like Passage of the Arms still actually you can't even use as a self mitigation, but but it's really not meant for that. It's truly like it's raid wide. But the thing about Divine Veil is it literally is just an OGCD you can toss in that has like many multiple uses. It's also worth remembering that Sheltron and Holy Sheltron are quite powerful as well. So like Paladin has a lot of tools. I should try. Yeah, 90 Paladin's awesome. Honestly, so also worth remembering that Paladin's about to change. So like honestly, you may, unless you want to like just try it now, so you know what it's like now, because it's about to change on like the 10th. But I really love Paladin currently.
I say to you, it is our responsibility to give these prisoners a fair trial, that they might answer to all of Alamigo. The Garleans called us savages, and I'll be damned if we prove them right.
Accidentally unplugged my heater.
I know you're right, I do, but I can't.
Oh, yeah. Can you give a shout out to Tam? Yeah, Tam. Tam! Hi. Hope you're doing okay. Apparently you aren't able to post in chat and stuff right now. This was from a while ago, about an hour ago, but I hope if you're still watching, Tam, I hope you're doing good. Okay. For some reason, I've always been under the impression the Divine Veil only shields other people, not yourself. Nope. No clue why I thought that. Yeah, no, it's not just the raid. It's you too. Downloading pictures of the openers from the balance so I can learn them. Yeah, highly recommend. Genuine recommendation to anyone. You want to up your game? Go to the balance Discord. There's a Discord called the Balance, and you just go to your job, and they will have like lovely infographics that will make it very easy to learn how to play your job correctly. And so you may increase your damage by 20%, 30%. You may like go crazy amounts. So if you're ever uncertain about your job or trying to figure out like, well, I'm max gear, but I don't seem to be doing the same damage as everybody else, that is where you want to go. again, I would also really emphasize this. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know something. It's not okay to bask in ignorance or to not just say, hey, I don't know, I'd like to learn. Or, hey, I like to want to get better, right? At least to me. This is my ethics. Everyone may have everyone. But like to me, it's like no one comes into 14th like, I know how to play this job, you know? Right now, I do not know how to play Monk fully correctly. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like I do. And the only reason I haven't learned is because I haven't had time to go do it, and I don't play Monk enough for other than these story beats that I don't. Instead I focus on learning the jobs that are more important in the short term because they're the jobs that I play. You know, like further perfecting my tank game. But so yeah, so like if you don't know and you want to improve, ask me, ask anyone in the community. Most of us either know how to play a job or know where to get resources, and most people would love to help you improve. Admittedly, I may not love to help you improve while I'm in the middle of stream trying to do a dungeon, but I apologize for that. My thanks, Raban. Listening to their anger, I could feel myself being swept away. 'Tis a difficult tide to stem. 'Twas that same rage which brought us to our feet and carried us to victory. But now the war is over, and all unspent fury is being channeled into vengeance. Aye, he's not just here. We reports of mobs forming all over. They've been targeting folk known to have cooperated with the Garleans. It starts with insults most often, then someone picks up a stone. Some industrious souls even thought to seek out the graves of Xenos and his officers. It was grim. I want to build a country where everyone, regardless of race or origin, can live side by side in peace. But maybe the time isn't right. Maybe people just aren't ready. Gemini, good to see you, glad to have you. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. The representatives will be here soon, and I'll be damned if I'm going to give up before I've even begun. Who are these representatives exactly? Village elders, refugee leaders, and the like. It wouldn't be right for us to dictate the nation's future on our own, so we've planned a summit of sorts. We've even invited Ananta and the Cockern to participate. Alamigo stands at a crossroads, and this meeting will decide which path it takes. The matter of Fordola's sentence cannot be suffered to disrupt proceedings. Then let's execute her and be done with it. She herself asked to be put to death. Nago, I already explained why we wouldn't do that. Sending her to the gallows might satisfy people right now, but where would it end? Should we round up everyone who collaborated? Everyone who didn't resist? There wouldn't be no one left, and we'd be no better than Theodric and Xenos. I don't know. There's also a certain level to which you can argue that, like, the war crimes that were perpetrated are to a certain extent. Begging your pardon, but might I be allowed to speak with Fordola? Only I caught a glimpse of her past, a moment of it anyway, during the fight. And she's done terrible things, unforgivable things. But in some ways, she's a victim of the circumstances in which she was born, and that's something I can understand. Alright, you speak with the prison guard when you're ready, and I'll come and join you. I want to talk to her too. I'll return to my other duties. We've barely begun to investigate the facility where they gave Fordola her powers. Be fairly warned, friends. She will test you. Don't let your emotions color the judgment when she does. Also, we're about to see one of the best examples of explaining how the Echo and the Blessing of Light are separate things. Deadly Chris, good to see you, glad to have you. Been following along with your previous streams to catch up. I love them so far. Oh, I'm glad that you've been enjoying them. Thanks so much. I hope you continue to enjoy them into the future. I hope you're having a good day as well. And Xian, sorry, I should have said this earlier, Xian. Everything's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, don't stress. Just do me a favor. Try to improve on Red Mage just like you're doing, and everything's good. And regardless you had fun, good. Awesome, Xian. Remy! Thank you for the $10. This is a test. This is a test? Oh my god, Remy, I just noticed, like, because it's smaller, I can't notice, but because it's big like this because of the $10, you have Ancient Mew as your icon. That's hilarious. You've the commander's permission to enter, then. This is a very important cutscene. And it's not this cutscene that's going to explain the difference between the Echo and Blessing of Light that I was talking about, but a later one. I will not spoil. Tam! And thank you for being an Archon for 3 months. It's the Oreo cookie. Ah, that's great. Oh, Bling, don't you start. Also good to see you. Glad to have you.
Well, well, well. So many visitors. Come to have a good laugh, have you? Or do you mean to put me out of my misery? To finish what you started? It's about bloody time.
That's not why we're here, no. Do you remember what I said? How I promised you you'd live long enough to see us win our freedom? Well, I meant it. And not to mock you either.
You're wasting your time.
Can hardly hear the game sound. Is that true for everybody else?
Pointless. There's no reason to keep me alive, and you know it.
I can bump up the game sound. In the future, please, guys, just I can't tell because it sounds fine to me. If it needs to be bumped up, someone's got to tell me, otherwise I won't be able to. Let me know if this is better.
I killed your men. I killed my men. And you know what my only regret is? That I didn't kill you when I had the chance!
That's a lie, and you know it. You think we can't tell what you're trying to do? That we're blind? Yeah, you're a fool, but you're not stupid. You're ruthless. Relentless. You'd give up anything and everything to get what you want.
I can always fix it. You just gotta let me know.
Climbing over the bodies of your own brothers and sisters just to piss it all away. I see you, Fordola. I see you for what you are.
Echo Vision. Yeah, usually it is Adele, but like I can adjust it too so people can still hear me even after it. With the music and stuff, or I can lower the music and the volume in the settings so that the music's there, but only the audio dialogue's still part.
Come along, Fordola. We mustn't be late. The Imperial Viceroy will be attending today's banquet.
All right! Father, what's Lord Gaius like? Is he nice? Are you friends?
There you go again with all your questions. Lord Gaius is a great and honourable man who looks after all of Alamigo. He's very busy, and if we don't hurry, we'll miss our chance to see him.
Okay, Rauban is apparently voice actor, also is Fordola's father.
Filthy tin-head lovers.
Father, what did that man call us?
The little tin-head lover doesn't know what she is, eh? A traitor, sweetheart. A backstabbing bitch who'd gladly betray her kith and kin to gnaw on what few scraps the Imperials deign to toss her. Like your bastard father and whore mother.
That's not true! My parents are good people! They've never done anything like that!
Oh, but they were quick to help themselves and their bitch spawn, weren't they? You're just as guilty as them.
Fordola!
Traitors!
Please, you have to do something. My husband and daughter are in danger.
Soldiers of the Imperial Army are under no obligation to intervene in the disputes of Arn.
We're citizens. We have rights.
Ah!
I'm scared.
It's all right. It's all right. They don't understand, but they'll see in time. They'll see that this is the only way to survive.
Traitors! Traitors!
Let the savages have their fun. They'll be more compliant once they've tired themselves out.
Fordola, please. You already have citizenship. Why would you want to become a soldier? Oh, gods. What have you done to your face?
Well, no, because she doesn't like the
Forgotten it
Imperial
already, have
Gemini.
you? I'm honoring Father's memory.
By telling the world that you know better than a common savage.
Remember, her father believes, and she believes, that the only way forward for her people is that they can't defeat Garlemald. They're not gonna win freedom. They're not gonna change the world. They're not gonna free themselves. It's impossible to save Garlemald. She also bore witness to Yida's death. Remember, she was friends. If you've not read the short story, one of the reasons Tales from the Twilight short stories, I think Tales from the Twilights. I think Her Father's Daughter is the name of the short story. She doesn't think that they can beat Garlemald, but she does think she can fight viciously and vehemently to prove her worth and prove that they matter just as much to earn a better place for her people in the ranks of Garlemald and Garleans. Because remember, they were already citizens and they still didn't do shit for her father. So from her perspective, what she's doing is fighting to make a better world. The only way she believes it's possible. So she hates Garleans. She hates them. She fucking hates them. She hates all of them. She knows how they sneer. She does not like them. But it also, she hates Almegans for what they did to her family. And what they did to her father. So for her perspective, the only way to she can't free themselves from Garlean yoke. And she can't join the side of those who killed her father. So the thing she can do is fight viciously and vehemently to forge a place for herself in their world. And to be made to respect them by force. You know?
Am I though, Mother? Are any of us? Can't you see? Citizenship means nothing to them. If you're not a pure-blood Garlean, you're no different from any other savage. So I'll play the part. I'll join the Legion and I'll make them respect me. And when the mob see that, they'll
could've
think
just shut up.
twice before throwing their stones. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn. It's time.
Those are the same friends that she killed at the tower.
It'll be hard.
of-
Humiliating. They'll try to break us. Send us crawling back to our own kind. But we won't, no matter what. We'll bleed for them, die for them if we have to. We'll do whatever it takes to be free!
So for her, fighting for freedom meant fighting this way, not the resistance.
So, you mean to play the part one last time, eh? The unrepentant traitor whose death will serve to unite the people?
Shut up.
You had every chance to kill yourself. Fashion a noose from your clothes. Wait for the guards to leave you alone long enough to slip it over your neck.
I said shut up!
Oh, but then it would have all been for nothing, wouldn't it? Whatever it takes. That's what you said.
Been in my head, have you? Had a little peek at my past? And what? A few stolen memories tell you everything you need to know, do they? Don't you dare patronize me! You don't know a god's damned thing about the life I've led! The bastards that killed him. The bastards that let it happen. My father deserved better! I swore I'd do whatever it took to make them pay!
Remember, the resonance is effectively a synthetic echo. So she has access to the echo. Not the blessing of light, but the echo. And she's bearing witness to our suffering now. Just as we bore witness to hers.
You. All that power. All that pain. It's too much. Too much for anyone. The things they've done to you. The lies. The betrayal. The endless fighting. Yet there you stand. Unbroken. How? Why?
For those who I have lost, and those I can yet save.
Damn you. Damn you all.
You still have time, Fordola. Think about how you want to spend it.
Yeah, if you have to think about, think about 5.0 and 5.1 through 5.3. Like, 5.0 is not complete without without 5.3. 3.0 is not complete without 3.3. Similarly, 4.0 is not complete without 4.1 to 4.3. It is a very important part of its story. 6.0 and 2.0 are the only ones that, 2.0 effectively completes its story with 2.0, and then the patch content for 0.1 through 0.5 is like a narrative arc, a narrative beat. And then Heavensward, you go to the Dragonsong War, which 0.1.3 is clearly an epilogue to Heavensward. Like, it's super, like, Heavensward needs that. Then 0.4.5 is prelude. 4.0, 4.1 to 4.3, very much epilogue and continuation, the final act of that. The 5.0, same 5.1, 5.3, but 6.0 ends 6.0, and now 6.1 to 6.8. I'm assuming 6.1 to 6.5 is actually going to be a narrative beat, but in a very similar way that 0.1 to 0.5 was a narrative beat for 2.0. Yeah, very good part. I like Fordola much more as a villain in Stormblood than I do Xenos or Yotsuyu. I think Yotsuyu can come across simplistic, but I think, like, the thing is that, like I say, 4.1 through 4.3 is so important to contextualize that in the same way that to contextualize Fordola, similarly 4.1 and 4.3. I think there's a little bit more to which Yotsuyu could be caricature compared to, like, Fordola if you just look at the 4.0 representation. And the thing is that Xenos is a very interesting yet somewhat, like, relatively simple villain for Stormblood, but the thing is that one of the things that this game does really well is, like, not just often, not all the time, but, like, a lot of times a character is introduced and not used to their full capacity, but then continues to be used to their full capacity later. Yeah. Personally picked because I choose to. Yeah. I mean, that's fine for you. I mean, like, that's the thing, is that's the beauty of this game, is that especially starting with Stormblood and especially starting with Stormblood patch content, they really started emphasizing dialogue options where it's not going to change what happens, but it does allow you to characterize your Warrior of Light, characterize how you want to play the game, right? And so, and not play the game, but, like, represent your intentions. And to me, it's for those we've lost and those we can yet save, right? And I think that versus I choose to is not so different. It's a very subtle nuance in a way, right? It's because, why do you fight? Why do you fight for others? Because I choose to. Because it matters to me. Because fighting for others, to save others, to do good is a choice that I make. Is not so different. Ultimately, all the options are pretty close. In it's a nuance, right? Yeah, Tam, if you can hear me, I don't know why YouTube chat's being bad for you, but let me try. One thing I would say is if your YouTube chat's having problems, try refreshing the page, but also sometimes YouTube just has problems. I'm sorry that it's not working right now, guys. Let me see if there's anything I can do to... Doesn't seem like I can fix it. No. I don't know that we solved anything exactly. We've given Fordola something to think about, at least. You've tried on 3 devices. Okay, so a lot of you guys are having... That's why chat's been quiet. A lot of you guys are having problems with it. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Sometimes YouTube's just weird. But I guess if you're unable to do chat right now, you can always chat in the Discord, which I see that some of you are. Speaking of which, we have a Discord. If you'd like to come join our community, it's where we do a lot of conversating about 14, having a good time, helping each other with all sorts of content, and being overly positive and optimistic outlook on life. Well, not necessarily required, but try to help each other have a better day. So, that is Eorzean Archives, discord.dg/Eorzean Archives. Well, yeah, Tracy, if you can already chat. Apparently some people, like, literally can't use chat right now for some reason. I don't know why that is, though. Thank you, Ray Ray. I've found something new to think about, too. I don't know about you, Elio, but the visions only come to me every now and then. From the way Fordola kept Winston, though, I get the feeling she's having them almost all the time. That's a lot of bad memories to deal with. I wonder, could there be some fundamental difference between the one who is born with the echo and one who has been artificially imbued with it? Well, the Immortal Flames have been scouring the research facility ever since the liberation. There's a chance they might have some answers for us. General Dean's there, overseeing the investigation. Let's go pay him a visit, shall we? If we're going to get driving home. Sounds good, Deathberry. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I look forward to a rough sketch or 2 later on the Discord. I hope we can chat and get fixed soon to hear for everyone. I'm very much looking forward to it, Deathberry. Stream was buffering before people started having problems with chat. Any problems on my end? No, I don't see any. I don't know what's up. Everything on my end looks good. Some Imperial interference on YouTube. Yeah, clearly it's the Garleans. They just don't want us streaming. For those of you though, like Tam, who have like been trying to get it to work on multiple devices and stuff, I appreciate you working that hard just to hang with us. I'm on a curl on curl. Brum-bum-ch. Speaking of, we have an FC on curl, Crystal Curl. If you'd like to come join us, you're more than welcome to. General Aldine is inside. Will you be joining him? Yeah, it seems intermittent for some people, Ray Ray. I don't know what's causing it. Ooh, Ray Ray, if you might be ahead of me at this point, but if not, if you want to get some B-roll of this area, I don't know if you can regularly come into the Risitorium. Let's make sure to talk to everyone in case there's interesting lore. Ugh, they should burn this place to the ground and be done with it. Seeing the facility, I'm reminded of what they did to Cryle. We received a request from the Alliance to analyze the devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Nothing of interest. Can I walk up here, though? Okay, well, I'll just come back here for 4.1. It's not that long of a run-through. If we need that footage. I probably will for that Echo video. Come on, let's talk to Raban. What news? You spoke with Fordola, I take it. Yes, as expected, she didn't say very much, but it wasn't a total waste of time. Arenvald noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the Echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different for her? We've been hard-pressed just to organize the research materials, let alone study them. To be frank, I'd welcome the Scion's expert assistance if you have time to lend a hand. So many bodies, every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury, but we've been able to determine they perished from forcible aether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. Yeah, each one of those is a body. Hearing about chat issues makes me glad I've been passively listening at work this whole time. Now I'm heading home, so we'll see. Well, either way, man. Either way, Darwin. Been good to have you listening. The device in which Cryle was held seems even more ominous now you know its purpose. The surrounding pods are marked Supply Subject, while this one bears the label Master Subject. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Did you notice the label? All the pods are designed to drain the aether of the occupant, save that one right there. Unlike the others, the interior has been fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. To what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. It takes the echo, so you're using all the aether of the surrounding victims, and then you're taking an imprint of the etheric wave signature of someone with the echo and the bless and taking that and imprinting it on someone else. On their soul, effectively, like putting their soul through a mold. Has it occurred to them? Yes. I'm pretty sure it has. We get reference to that idea in the weapons questline at least once. I know little and less of science. Less of science. So any light you can shed on this facility operations would be much appreciated. Elio, shall we start with you? Taken in combination with the testimonies of Cryle and Thancred. Why is it going so fast? I do begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. The enhancements procedure entailed infusing a single candidate with aether siphoned from multitude of supply subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Cryle, the pattern of her etheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. In other words, they were trying to recreate Kryle's echo. I believe so, which would explain our prisoner's present state. Cryle is possessed of an unrivaled ability to hear the whispers of the soul, and it seems probable that the procedure engendered the same acute sensitivity in Fordola. The soldiers who guard Fordola, many of them lost their friends and families to the skulls. And there's a sentry at the door, night and day. if she can't help sensing their thoughts and seeing their past? Forcible empathy is my favorite way to deal with a villain. But you don't just see their pasts, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain. Imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed, as you may recall, Ysael was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Hraesvelgur's past. Fordola has been forced to experience the agony of those whose lives she destroyed. The guilt must be unbearable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. If the results of these experiments have been relayed back to Garlemald, there will be naught to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. They could give the echo to anyone, to an entire legion. We must be ready. We must learn all we can of these godforsaken procedures. And Fordola remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish. Not yet. Right. Keep faith, lass. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. That was kind of Nero's idea at the beginning. He mentioned adding our power to the ultimate weapon at one point. Well, he's referring more to adding the idea of like the power of like the echo and the blessing of light before he fully understands the Gemini. But yeah. Doesn't Nero or one of the other Garleans say they're recording us for data for during one of the IRR primal cutscenes? Yeah. Ifrit. There's Ifrit, there's Titan. Ifrit and Titan. He shows up for both of those. It might be Titan that he's recording it for, though, because Ifrit, he's, like, more aware of us the first time around. Yeah. But the main reason that Nero's tracking us is because of the Echo more than anything else. Because he doesn't understand the ability to resist primals. I go looking for answers about the Echo and end up getting schooled by Raban. He had more evidence that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not to me. General Aldine is a veteran of countless campaigns, Lys. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. It makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have to learn. I wonder what he'll do when everything is settled here. I mean, it's his homeland. After going to the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? 'Tis a quandary which countless refugees now face, to continue the life they built in Ul'dah, or start again in the land of their birth. Elio, a moment! I am a newly returned from Ul'dah with a message from the Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Well, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. Why did they not use it for anything? Well, remember that Nero just almost said defecates. Defects from the Garlemald very shortly after the events of him recording that information, and also becomes obsessed with other things. An audience with the Sultana. Depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be a perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Yes, we'd all like to know about those, Alfino, but not everyone is yet comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take notice of him, Elio. Take no notice of him, Elio. Raban still needs a prosthetic. For the love of the 12, please do it, Sid. I mean, AC, since the very first time I saw Raban without an arm, I said to myself, that man needs a robot arm. So I'm with you. But, I don't know how, likely it is at this point. Especially when his role is not as a combatant, but as a leader. I just want to check. We are on Sultana's strings. We're about halfway. We still got an hour left. We'll see if we make it. We may cut off early here today because I was going a bit slow. We'll see. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasure to good use shows no sign of answering itself. So it'll be about it, Arenvald. I'm at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad to head down into the ruins, and then start preparing for a big meeting. Oh, and send Nanamo my regards, Elio. And ours too. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. Yeah, mostly one-upping Sid. Yeah, that'd be really cool. So long as it isn't Niflheim Magitech with Demon Juice, he'll be good. Yeah. Sultana strings. Because we're basically about halfway done with 4.1. Because basically there's the Alamigo arc, and then there's the Ul'dah Nanamo arc bit. But luckily most of that is talking, so it should be pretty quick. I'm not mistaken. It should be the... will it be the Chamber of Rule? Yeah, Chamber of Rule. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum. You are expected, my lord. Please proceed. Hey, Sultana dreaming.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy.
I love Nanamo's post-AR voice actress.
The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Raubarn and his future. All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Ul'dah home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Raubarn chooses to remain in Ul'dah or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a Sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears.
I love Nanamo's arc. Over the course
Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
She really grows into her own as a Sultana. From 2.0 on to 6.0.
Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
Well, it's a good thing we're not on Balmung, because we're going to the quicksands. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, consider yourself blessed. Could you go at least a little less pink? What do you think of Lilira, the merchant's daughter? This is the disguise I don when I wish to leave the palace and observe my subject unnoticed. I wonder if so I had never thought about this, but her mother was a merchant's daughter. I wonder if that's where she got the idea. Ordinarily, Papa Shan would accompany me, but for this particular outing, I need an advisor, not a minder. And that is why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life, in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now, let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the gates of Nald. No, Gemini. No. Oh, unless you mean Quicksands and Balmung, in which case, yes, Gemini. Yes. Slope! Slope! Slope? 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 Slope! Slope! Sloppy! Look upon the procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in squalor at the mercy of the elements and Thanalin's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety, but the streets overflow with people as it is, and unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford dwelling in Ul'dah. 20 years have passed since the fall of Alamigo, and 5 since the calamity, yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As Sultana, the blame falls upon me. Your hands have been tied somewhat. Yes, my authority is limited, and that is the obstacle I must work to overcome. Shall we press on? I would follow the road to the unholy air. I like that if you start in Ul'dah, she asks if you remember the disguise. Oh, does she? On my main, oh right, on my main I remember that. But Elio started in Limsa because we canonically came up with the background of him coming from Charlian. I don't know if I guess that's even true about Warrior of Light, Elio. Because that also, like, breaks. Like, I mean, that could be headcanon, but, like, that doesn't work particularly well as a Warrior of Light backstory. Or at least it causes some conflicts. I didn't even realize, Darvin, that's funny you say that, because I hadn't even thought about the fact that, like, unless you start in Ul'dah, you don't see that disguise. You haven't seen that before. I'm just so used to thinking about it because she uses it in multiple ways. It was here in the holy remarkable place that my mother and father met their doom. Ooh. Duly noted that. Nanasha, Nasha, and oh, died unholy heir. Oh, I know her father's name. It's being stolen from my mind right now. I feel like being from anywhere kind of breaks things. Not really. I mean, to some extent, not really, because as long as you're from somewhere in Eorzea, it works because you have to remember that. Well, so the thing about it is it also depends if you're talking about 1.0 or 2.0 character. But, like, you could easily be like, oh, the reason you're coming to Ul'dah is you're from outside of Eorzea. Like, maybe you're from Gridania, like, you were an Elizin from Gridania. Or, let's say you grew up in this village, there's all sorts of backstories you come up that really still work pretty well to make sense for, like, adventuring in 2.0 if you're not a 1.0 legacy character. But assuming that you are, it's even easier. There's just some that don't work. Like, clearly, if you're like, I'm from Garlemald as your backstory, I'm like, I mean, maybe a province you could kind of make work if you just don't ever talk about it as your background, but even then. It was here in this unholy remarkable place that my mother and father met their doom. I was but a child at the time she was 5. My parents were returning from an inspection of our interests in Eastern Thanalan when an extremely unlucky rockslide crushed their carriage. To this day, it is not certain if the incident was simply misfortune or an expertly planned assassination. It was an expertly planned assassination. We have multiple reasons, thanks to the Sildi subterrane, that we know that there would be specific reasons why they would have been assassinated. Rauban once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me to the truth. He assumed I must surely crave, but I refused. Even if my parents' deaths were orchestrated by the monetarists, we could only have brought their hirelings to justice. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a biddable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus, I did plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many goodly souls paid the price of my naivety. But I am no longer a child, reciting words with witless obedience, and I will not be used as a pawn in the monitorous damnable games. Forgive me my outbursts. You are one of the few people to whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let's return to Ul'dah and visit the Colosseum. To the Blood Sands. Gladiator skills is probably, yeah, gladiator skills. So in a certain later city, the explanation of the population of the cities being small is that there's a big housing unit that players can't access. Is there equivalent for the other cities? Yeah. So two things are important to remember. There are canonical explanations that, like, the city-states, the representation of the city-states in-game are not how you should necessarily conceive of them literally in terms of the amount of space that they have for people to live in. Like, there's multiple points in the game that imply that there's, like, hundreds of thousands of people living in Limsa. And part of that's that there's, like, not only that there's access to other living quarters, right? Why did I come here? I just defaulted to returning to Fanlon. Well, I'm just gonna say, hi, everybody! Moving back to Fanlon. But the so one of the things we know that Koji has talked about repeatedly is that, like, it's just a limitation of creating the game is that they're not as big and grand in scope as they would have liked. Part of this game limitation. Part of it is, like, for instance, in Sharlayan, if you look, you can see that there's a housing district in the back. If, like, you go to the far, like, north, like, back right area, you can see that it goes on further and there's a lot more houses and stuff. So there's multiple places in which there's also that. I couldn't decide where my Alrod comes from. Just made his backstory like one of his parents were from the steppe and left for some reason and met the other parent while traveling. Yeah, totally works. But they explain how every culture and location works whenever you first visit. At least by Stormblood, you're traveling with someone so you can reconcile that exposition your character should know. Right, but, like, so here's an example, right? So if you argue, oh, my character's from the steppe, why are we explaining the steppe? Yeah, doesn't really make sense, right? Or from the Ruby Sea or stuff. But, I mean, first off, I'd like to point out that if you're a Viera, you can literally be a Viera, and when you go to meet Fran, that cutscene's really weird for Return to Evil's, right? But let's say you were from Wurlit, right? They explained the history of Wurlit, but let's say you were an orphan from Wurlit. You haven't been there in a long time. Let's say you don't talk about that. No one knows that. Them explaining Wurlit isn't the craziest thing, but also you could be from, like, Landis or Nalmask or other places, or, you know, you could be from the, like, many villages that outline the outer part of Hydaelyn, let's say, and, like, this is the first time you're going to Ul'dah, or, you know, let's say you're from a small village somewhere near Yafame, but, like, not in the dangerous parts of Yafame, or, you know, at the base of the Abalathia spine, or, you know, so there's all sorts of ways that, like, you can pseudo-rationalize it and also point to the fact that, yeah, sometimes there's just limitations. But the thing is, your Warrior Light did not come from nowhere. And the other thing is that if you're a 1.0 character, like, the backstories are even a little bit more concreted. You know. So there's many outlying places that we don't necessarily have been to, or maybe won't necessarily even ever go to. You know, there's outposts in Vilbrin that you don't necessarily see in the main parts of the map that you go to. There's places in the Shroud, on the outer edges of the Shroud, as well as, like, between, like, not just like in East Shroud. There are places, you know, there's the fringes here, but there are places, you know, between, like, the Shroud and stuff with small villages. Or literally, you know, you could be like, you can come up with all sorts of stuff. Like, yeah, how do you contextualize it in the game? Well, the game also has limits in terms of how it can contextualize that in and of itself. I had to change my Mikote lore to hail from M tribe purely by accident because I named Miev, forgetting the fact that we do meet the tribe in MSQ. Yeah. The War of Light isn't Mistral from Metal Gear. What? What? From MGR? Yeah, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Okay, I was about to say, like, what? From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years, I simply signed where I was told to sign and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from the ignominious chapter in my life, for it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Raban. The match that I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinker though I was, I would not stand for so oblivious and obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring which had arranged for Raban to die on the sands that day. Regardless, my intervention meant that Raban had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did, and when he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theater. But as you know, Raban is a man of his word, and though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the Blood Sands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the Syndicate. And then I had my blade. Oh, did we get to see the echo vision of the cutscene? Hey, we get to see the... So this is a cutscene from 1.0 that they redid for the... skills.
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Raban!
Your Grace.
She just straight used that boy as a
I've kept
leaping
the
board.
promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Uldar, and so, as tradition dictates, Rauben Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last.
Aww.
Long live the Sultana, and long live Uldar!
Words cannot express what the man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Jean's love for me is that of a grandsire for his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Raban, with the authority of his syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield, and his was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. We must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultana Sworn for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Arzenath's ossuary. The other place where they worship Nalthal. However, it's been closed for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, that's the... It's the Arzenath's ossuary. Where's the other one? It's in the Steppes of Thal. It's, or is it not? Yeah, the Milvaneth Sicarium. That's where I'm thinking of, the other one. The ossuary is the one in use. Gotta love when it snows in the desert. I mean, Gladiator is basically that. When the calamity threatened When the calamity threatened, Rabban led the Alliance forces into battles on the plains of Cartnau, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louis Soir would have the power to rouse the 12. Interesting, the situation she's talking about is the Sultana Sweven. Since that day, I have made a custom of visiting these shrines during each of my little excursions. Here I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of the monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be Sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the trouble facing Ul'dah. I have chosen my path, Elio. With Alamigo now freed from the Imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees. Already, many displaced Alamigans seek to begin their long trek home. To facilitate that process, I have made a small contribution, an artisan school in Ralgar's Reach for any who wish to learn the new trades. If you've done the Stormblood crafting quests, a lot of them have to do with that. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time the Ul'dah Treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. Why not seek the advice of someone who employs the refugees? You know, like Godbert. A wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. Its proprietor is a member of the Syndicate, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. I wonder, are you acquainted with Godbert Manderville? Oh, right, because we didn't finish the Manderville questline. Ah, well, he is a most generous man, if something of an eccentric. Let's make our way to the landing, and I'll see the word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbert should only be too glad to receive us. Actually, this is good, because I get to see what it's like if you haven't met him. Oh, it does up in a long day for me. Did I miss anything big? I don't know. I mean, it depends on how long you've been asleep. But, no, I mean, it's been a little chill. Right now, where YouTube's having problems where, like, a bunch of people aren't able to message, so the chat's been slow. We're just getting through stuff. I like a tank boat with 2 giant blades. I don't know, man, but, like, 2 giant blades, like, how different is that than either, like, Ninja in terms of double daggers or Dark Knight in terms of giant blades, you know? Or then, like, Paladin in terms of the sword and shield thing he does. Like, I don't know. Well, like, what distinct identity is there that's different, you know? Because, like, literally, he is a gladiator. Like, what is the job, you know, that distinguishes itself? And here's the Dancing Pope of Crystal Curl, and why you should definitely come join Crystal Curl. Oh wait, actually we need to go to a Gold Saucer. Yeah, that would be heartburn. Yeah. I mean, like, 2 swords in, like Darth Maul saber style? Maybe. Like, then that would be something interesting. I just think, like, it's really important that each job have a distinct identity. And I don't know that 2 blades in and of itself is a distinct identity at this point without adding a very, like, specific visual motif or something on top of it that makes it something, you know, more. And etheric control or whatever. I have ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement. Hey guys, look, it's Vieira. I'm going to hell. I had heard descriptions of its splendor, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. It has its moments. No, I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Godbert will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. Signor Sabotendar! Speaking of, let me see if I can find the... We were talking about Kid Lalafels earlier. He should be over here with his dad. No, just there's the Rogan and here child. The adoptive dad. This too is truly intoxicating. Yeah. Yes, the gold sauce is the only house always loses casino. Yeah. What was that dancing by the crystal? This is one of the other recent fixtures of Crystal Curl. The dancing Rogadin of Crystal Curl. He's always here in front of the gold saucer. Whether you find this enticing or reason to never come to this server, that's up to you. This one's really sad. So look, so there's this Lalafell here. My companion promised to meet me in Wonder Square, but she's nowhere to be seen. Do you think it's this fragrance I'm wearing? She's always had the most sensitive nose. So there's that guy. My companion promised to meet me in Wonder Square, but I can't find him anywhere. You think it's my dress? He's so particular when it comes to fashion. And they shall never meet. Forever sitting in Wonder Square across from each other. They have been there since circa 2013. 10 years later, and they're still searching for each other. I believe this is where we meet Lord Manderville. Shall we sit while we wait his coming? Everybody's waiting for Manderville to come. Every world has their cryptid and dancing folks, huh? They really do, Momo. They really do. My apologies. My apologies, Your Grace. I've kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. When the Sultana herself comes calling, there's no more important engagement. I don't know, I never go to Gridani. As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanalin. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to await their newly liberated homeland, and also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them the suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might best be distributed? The unusual circumstances of our meeting and Your Grace's choice of companion would suggest to me a desire for honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is stop. Taxing Uldal's wealth to save Alamigan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. You oppose my proposition? Most emphatically, I agree with you, Your Grace, that the refugees must have housing and employment. But what profit is there for Uldal in this arrangement? Profit? After all you've done for Girabani's displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek a benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, Your Grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. And then we must consider the Uldal's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of your spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo, it's unlikely that they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not Your Grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill, is it not? Indeed. Then any support I pledge to the refugees most must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of Uldar. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship, with the return in Alamegans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. Night Tracy! That's the real tragedy in this game, yeah. Wait, is Gobbert a Moogle? So what happened, Summit, is I did Manderville, and I gave Manderville that accent, and then the next episode we did Moogles, and I accidentally gave Moogles that accent, and then Moogles kept that accent. So it's more that Kooples are Godbert than Godbert is a Moogle, but probably one of the more interesting groups of people with the Weeaboo Police, yeah. You've given me much to ponder, Lord Manderville. I thank you for your candor. Let's keep hanging out with Manderville. Banana. Prophet, the thought never even crossed my mind. But standing about lamenting my native toe will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Elio, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. Ordinarily would not trust an agent of the East Aldernar Trading Company, but if you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I'm content to be led by you. You must repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugane and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers are wont to do, I shall await your report by the Aetheryte in Uldar. A fair journey to you, Elio, and a swift one, if you please. To Hingashi! The Weeaboo Police. That's pretty funny. Did they just going around ticketing people who were like, had like weeby costumes? Of our fallen brothers, thunder still, hopes fulfilled, now we go for freedom. How's the music compared to my voice, by the way? I can also try to modulate the music a little bit if it's too loud. Roasted! Good to see you, glad to have you. I never trusted Hancock, still don't. I trust him. I trust him to act in his own self-interest and to focus on the East Aldernar Trade. Like, the thing is that Hancock's very predictable. Like, that's the thing about business people like him and Loloritos. You just need to realize how they function, and then, like, you've got them down pat. In some ways, like, I trust that he's going to be, like, not humanitarian focused and not focused on the best of the world, but the best for his bottom line, you know? Thank goodness for instant long-distance teleportation. Truly, AC. Rip almost all Sam players' pockets if they do that. Do what? Teleport? I mean, I have a metric crap ton of Aether tickets. I may not actually have I may be running out of Aether tickets on Elio, actually. I have like 999 on my main. But I mean, like, I have effectively, I'm not worried about running out of money for teleportation. Just gonna use that. Elio, to what do I owe the pleasure? Or are you here on business? I beg your pardon? Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how best to invest the wealth of Uldar. My dear Elio, I have you to thank for this recognition, I am sure, and I am flattered that you came to me. Truly flattered. But why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon masters of profits, there are no living soul better qualified to advise Her Grace than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning exertions are said to fill his guard robe with gold. I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you, say at the Scion's Formers headquarters in Thenelin. The Waking Sands would seem a suitably neutral venue for negotiations, don't you think? Fare you well, Elio, and may your dealings prove fruitful. Pray return to the Waking Sands! Weeaboo police ticketing. Oh, almost Sam Player's pockets for doing that. Yeah, Momo. Now I follow. That's fair. Predictability is a good thing in character sometimes. I'm not saying he's a good person, mind you. I'm just saying that I trust he actually is very consistent, you know? Like, he really, if you know what kind of person he is, there's nothing that should really surprise you about any of his actions. And they are pretty, like, you know, samurais don't even have pockets. Welcome back, Elio. Did your merchant friends have any useful advice to share? What? With Lolorito? And you agreed to this? I'm well aware of his standing in the field of business, but I'd hoped to keep the monitress at arm's length, and him in particular. Nay, I cannot live in fear of the man. I must learn how to treat with him if I am to rule Ul'dah effectively. Also, you just met with the Hildebrand. What do you mean you want to... I mean, like, Hildebrand's a monitress. Roasted! Thank you for the Archon. Enjoy your emotes. Very well. I'll meet with Lolorito. Let us go on ahead with the Waking Sands and prepare for his coming. Must we prepare for Lolorito's coming? Oh, I'm sad. I still had Vesper Bay Aetheryte tickets I could have used. Boring. So this is where the Scions first congregated. I've heard many tales, but never had the occasion to visit. To work then. The hour of the meeting draws near, and I would gather my thoughts. Pray see to it we have the appointed room to ourselves. Another reason that I would argue that Ul'dah is the starting place besides all the pretty solid reasons is the fact that the Waking Sands is in Vesper Bay.
A personal summons from the Scions. This must be important business indeed. Though, if it concerns anything so underhand as an assassination, I fear I can be of little help.
Like, once you understand the Monitress and the Syndicate's, like, philosophy, like, they are... The only one who ever really should have surprised anyone was Teleji. Because he went... he really, in some meaningful ways, went against his own self-interest.
You have made your point. 'Tis indeed unsettling to find oneself seated across from an impassive mask. There, would this better please your grace? Or should I address you as Lady Lilira?
I love this scene too, because it really, like, shows Nanamo coming into her own, but also...
Nay, the deception has served its purpose. I'm glad to see you found amusement in my little jest, Lord Lolorito, but shall we proceed to the business at hand?
It's just good politicking, right? It's just good, like... Ugh. I feel like this scene is undervalued in how good it is.
By all means. I must say, I'm most eager to hear your proposal.
Simply put, I would aid the refugees camped in Thanalan in their efforts to return to Alamigo. The reparations you paid in the wake of your earlier misdemeanors will be used to fund the endeavor, together with the fortune seized from the late Teleji Adeleji's estate. But this plan is not intended to benefit the displaced alone. I would make of this an investment which shall enrich Ul'dah and Alamigo both. And who better to consult on matters of profit than the wealthiest man in all of Thanalan? I beseech you then, Lord Lolorito, share with us your mercantile wisdom.
Ah, 'twould seem your grace has matured beyond acts of earnest yet misplaced charity. Pray tell me more.
It's a very simple scene, but it's such a good scene.
To summarize, in return for facilitating the repatriation of refugees and assisting in the establishment of new industry in Alamigo, you ask that a proportion of all subsequent profits be promised to Ul'dah. I am impressed, Your Grace. 'Tis an elegant solution. albeit one lacking certain crucial details, specifically which industry and where.
How swiftly you identified the weakness in my plan, just as I knew you would.
Salt.
Your travels have taken you across the length and breadth of Gir Abania, and you know the land far better than I. Which of the settlements you visited would best provide a home for our refugees? Which has the greatest potential to flourish, given the appropriate investment?
Well, I guess that's interesting. I mean, given the investment is the Sultry. I mean, Al-Ghiri would be like population center, but Al-Ghana. I'll go with the Sultry to see what happens. Assuming that we're talking about it.
Yes, that desolate little village on the shore of Loch Seld. I know the Sultry and its products well. The Imperial invasion brought an end to their more widespread distribution, much to the dismay of many a wealthy gourmand, myself included.
But like sending them to the Gold Saucer wouldn't solve anything for a couple of reasons. One of which, Godbert has already hired as many people as he can, right? He doesn't need more people. You're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of people. And also, on top of that, that doesn't actually help Ul'dah, because all you've done, that doesn't bring in... What this is benefiting Alamigo and its repair and resurrection, and the problem of the overcrowding problem that Ul'dah has, while also long-term benefiting them, because, like, if you do the Gold Saucer, you've solved nothing, you know? I got the right answer in one try due to paying attention to lore. I mean, like, that's the thing that's great, is if you pay attention to lore, it...
Salt has ever been a transformative ingredient. And in this instance, I dare say, it could transform a modicum of effort into a mountain of gil.
The local citizens will need to be consulted, of course, but I trust the East Aldenard Trading Company can be relied upon to provide its assistance in negotiating a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Like, that's the other thing, too, is, like, in this cutscene, if you get that wrong, I actually don't think I know what happens, but I'm assuming, like, the conversation still goes, someone, like, admonishes you or something, but, like, that's a great example of, like, oh, if you know there's a way to, like, it rewards you for paying attention, but it's not, like, a problem if you weren't, you know, and it'll get you on the right track. It's just, I don't know, I think 4.1 onwards is really when they get better and better about shit like that.
Naturally, Your Grace. I shall dispatch representatives well-versed in the extraction of this white gold and wring every last ons of profit from its production.
Interesting, ons
The
is how
Loch's
they say
bounty
it.
will contribute to Alamigo's enrichment, whilst easing the burden on the bull's aching shoulders, just as Your Grace desired.
Yeah, Blink, the goldsmith for Story of
deal
Shoreblood's
is struck
awesome.
then.
Yeah. Yeah, they just get better and better and better about, I think, dialogue options the longer the game has gone on. And part of it I know is philosophically, it was around before 4.0, they didn't want to, they wanted the Warrior of Light to be a stand-in, so they didn't want to make them too much of a character. But as they got further and they were like, oh, they can still be a representation of you as the player and your characterization of them meaningfully while having options and dialogue, stuff like that. And actually, it makes people connect to them more, not less, and still allows you to have the fantasy if you want to interject yourself into it. So, yeah. I fear it will be many years before I feel comfortable taking part in such negotiations, but I shall not complain. We have piqued Lolorito's interest and secured his invaluable expertise. Thank you, Elio. I could not have done it without you. Our course is decided. I shall return to the palace and I will have my ministers begin working on implementing the particulars of the plan. If I could prevail upon you one more time, Elio, I would ask that you convey the details of our negotiations to Commander Hext on your return to Alamigo. My thanks again. Together we have laid the groundwork for an endeavor which promises to benefit the peoples of Alamigo and Ul'dah both. I want to check something. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. MSQ. A blissful arrival. Okay. We'll definitely do at least this. Securing the Saltery. Well, 6:85. Actually, we're good on time. We probably can actually finish off. Because the scene that I think is coming up is I just worry about how the length of time that will take. Because there's two pretty long scenes and a thing to deal with. Elio, you're back. What did Nanamo? Oh, sorry. What? Are you allowed to talk about your? Are you allowed to talk your audience with the Sultana? So, Raban says he's going to return to Ul'dah, but she isn't sure he wants to. Tell us something we don't know, but I'm pleased to hear she's committed to helping with our refugees come home. And this plan to revitalize the Saltery does make a lot of sense. Quite how you convinced her to seek Lolorito's help is another question. After all that has happened, he is the very last person that I would expect her to return to advice for. But on a more practical note, at least assuming the interim government elects to accept Uldah's proposal, I have one caveat. I should like you to include it in the bargain. Alamigo must be permitted to cover a portion of the investment. We have a fortune at our disposal, after all, and allowing Ul'dah to provide the entirety of the capital will afford Lolorito too much control. Honestly, Alphino, it's like Kugane never happened. What exactly does a ruthless profiteer have to do with to earn your trust? But yes, you do make a good point. First things first, though, we need to discuss this proposal with Saltery's residents. Whisker, how do you fancy explaining the Sultana's plan to your grandfather? I'd like to hear what Watt thinks of the idea before agreeing to anything. Right away, Commander. Would you mind coming along, Elio? I might need you to fill in the details. Then I shall come as well. Should Watt wish to discuss figures, my knowledge of the nation's finances may prove useful. Ray, how are you doing if we had to go like 20 minutes long? Oh, I'd also like to remind people that every day after stream, or not every day, I mean, every Monday, although we're hoping to set it up for most days, we have V who runs maps for, we'll be running maps, or actually also maybe running Blue Mage and other things as well. For the community. So if you'd like to go have fun and hang out with V and all the other players and some of our other members, make sure that you do get together for that after this. So the easiest way to do that would either be to go to the Tea Tree on Crystal Curl or on Mondays, or to head over to the Discord. I would survive. Well, it's 6:40. A blissful arrival, the next one. Ray, you just did that. Is that one council meeting with a certain combat situation after this, or is that 4.2? What manner of mischief brings your young and old Watt this time, eh? They want to rebuild the Saltery, Gandad. Elio told them about the details. Well, bugger me. We never had a coin on our hands to put the place back to how it was, but it sounds like that's about to change. That's just one small wrinkle in your plan. Doesn't account for all the nasties queuing up to eat anyone who goes near the shore. The king used to send soldiers to kill the buggers, but the Imperials weren't about to help the likes of us. Don't worry, Grandad. We'll take care of all of them. Commander Hex has been starting on regular patrols. I'm sure she had signed me to the locks if I asked. I'd appreciate that, Whisker, my lad. Truly I would. So does this mean you've gotten better with the blade of yours? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thanks, Ray. I've been training an eye, but mostly to kill Imperials. You have some experience hunting monsters, don't you, Elio? Think you could cast an eye over a few of the local beasties and teach me how to deal with them? Let's not waste any time. I'll see you by the lock. Whilst you are busy attending to the local fauna, I shall have Master Watt explain to me exactly what is required to restore the Sultry to its former glory. Good hunting! Right then, Elio. I got a spyglass here you can use to take a closer look at the pests. Once you got their measure, you can tell me what to do, and we'll see how well I get on. Tea tree, aka the tree found outside the aft castle in the 8th ray. Yes. Oh, I see. Yeah, I got 2 more quests, but they're pretty long ones, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of, like, the amount of time. Because we got that final scene with Sultana, and the Yabi's entire body is protected by a hard carapace, but the underside of the head looks soft and vulnerable. Ah, looks like you found a Yabi. The say hitting their shells like smacking a rock. Any suggestions? Aim for the soft underside of its head. Vulnerable under the head, are they? Right, wish me luck. Yeah, I think we'll pause here then, and we'll finish that up tomorrow, and then we'll go into, I'm thinking we'll do the trial series, because going into 4.2. 4.2 ends, like, kind of, you really want to go straight into 4.3. Alright, thanks, Elio. I did just as you told me, and the Wavekin went down like a sack of popotos. Let's find something else. Honestly, I'm surprised how stacked 4.1 is. Like, it's a good, like, it's a girthy. It's quite girthy for a patch. Much more girthy than 3.1. Definitely more girthy than 2.1. Although 2.1 can kind of be forgiven. Thank you, Ray Ray. I think I can handle the Abbeys now, so we should try something different. What else is out there? Something Jellybean wants to hear about my girthy gay bulge, apparently. This is YouTube. We're contractually obligated to say like, share, and subscribe. It helps to support your favorite archivists. Thank you, Ray Ray. And also, we could do something like Monday radio announcer Elio. This is Eorzean ASMR, brought to you by the Eorzean Archives. Here with Ray Ray at 3 a.m. in the morning. Now playing to you the funky fresh beats of Neath Dark Waters. The Phobad's hands are large and powerful, but destroying its crystallized core should render the salt golem inanimate. You sense power pulsating from behind its brow. Hunter! Good to see you, glad to have you. Ugh, a Phobad. How do I defeat one of those? It's going good. A bunch of people, for some reason, are having chat problems, so they're unable to do chat right now. But we're just finishing up here, and we're a little earlier than... We've got a couple missions left in 6.1, but we'll probably wrap those up tomorrow. Inside its head, is it? I'll try to stab it right between the eyes, then. Catch our Overseries Overheard in Eorzean on Twitter. Want to see scantily clad archivists? Well, we don't have those yet, but sign up for our Patreon anyways, where you'll get fun rewards like your name in the banner above, your name at the end of credits of our official videos, and fun little Discord and other rewards beyond. It's not easy, fighting with the Liberator Alamigo, watching your every move. But I got the job done. Thanks for the advice, Elio. I feel a lot better prepared for my patrols now. Manny wrote, we should head back to the Sultry before Grandad starts worrying. I've been snipped into pieces and fed to a Yabby's hatchling. If I had a pet Yabby, I'd name it Gabby, so it'd be Gabby the Yabby. You know what? I'd like to point out that the monastery over here is kind of like an abbey, so if we took Gabby the Abbey to here, we'd be Gabby the Abbey at the Abbey. Not too shabby. I see you returned in one piece. Dealt with those BCs then, did you? I fought them myself. After a bit of instruction from Elio here. Once I shared what I've learned with the others, we should have no trouble keeping the shoreline clear. Good lad. Fine young man you become, Whisker. Fine young lad indeed. Too often and late I hear tales of folk over in the city, drunk on victory and hungry for revenge, their heads stuck firmly in the past. But we need to set our sights on the future, on things which will improve our lot. Things like getting the Sultry ready to welcome our long-lost country. It seems Whisker and the Sultry's security is well in hand, and I, meanwhile, have discussed the next step with Master Watt and completed my inspection of the site. With a little work, the vacant buildings here could be made into very presentable dwellings. Message from General Aldine. Apologies for the interruption, sir, but the General would speak with you at your earliest convenience. Do not feel obliged to wait around on my account. I will remain here to hammer out the finer details with Watt and act as an intermediary with our business partners in Uldar. You should go. General Aldine asked that you wait for him by the main gate in Alamigan quarters. My apologies again, sir. Fare you well. Okay, because the next section is actually a little bit lengthy, we're going to save that for tomorrow. We're going to wrap that up. We're going to do a little bit of the short warm-up. We'll do a mission of Dark Knight tomorrow. We'll do warm-up with the wrapping up 4.1. And then we'll get going on the trial series for the Four Lords, which may be a long... So tomorrow may be a long stream. Just be ready for that, for those of you who are interested. If you would like to do maps, come check out V here. And all of these other lovely people that we have. I don't... Oh, it's Rowan. Rowan, I don't think I have you sent a friend request. I don't think I have you as a friend on this. That's Xion, that's Des. Des is in the party. Actually, I'm going to break party now because you guys might be hanging out. If you'd like to do maps or other content, you can come join here where people will be meeting up at the tea tree on Crystal Curl. But beyond that, hi, I'm Elio Forcheron. On Monday and Tuesdays, we have the MSQ stream that we do every week. On Wednesday, we put out a new video. And then on Thursdays, we have me and Aniri replaying through the Final Fantasy games. Right now, we're on Final Fantasy 2. On Fridays, we have Lore Book Club over in the Discord. Not a member of the Discord? You should definitely come join it. We're a very friendly lot, and we like helping each other out in terms of Final Fantasy 14 content and other gameplay content and all sorts of other things as well. It's a very social place, and all are welcome. Are you someone who just likes to lurk? You're still welcome. Are you someone who's very nervous socially? You're still welcome, and you should definitely... It's a good place that you will find people are very open and welcoming. I will reiterate that time and time again. Beyond that, Saturday is when we have community streams. This next community stream will probably still be doing tomestones as the Moogle Tombstone event is still on. That said, I may have an emphasis on doing PvP, so like frontlines and stuff with people, because you're running out of time to finish your track. And if you want to unlock your if you want to unlock your PvP mount, you're going to have to get to track 25. If you don't get it now, you may not be able to get it for a long time to come. On top of that, public service announcement. Go buy the Falcon mount from the Tombstone event. It has not been available for a very long time and will not be available again for a very long time. It is 50 Tombstones. Go buy it. I promise you, you will not regret it. Even if you don't like the mount, you will not regret it. Okay, if you'd like to support us, you can support us by going over and joining our Patreon, where you can offer us a couple bucks and get all sorts of fun rewards, like your name in the banner above my head, as well as your name in the end credits of our videos and other things besides. You can also offer us, you can all get a membership here, which will give you access to emotes and all sorts of other fun things for the YouTubes. Also, you can just send us a super chat, which will go towards our current funding goal, which right now is to get a little chibi Elio because it seems adorable. It also goes a long way towards supporting us and making this whole thing far more sustainable in the long run, which I really appreciate because honestly, we're getting closer and closer to like really actual sustainability and full-time just this and nothing else, and I'm very excited. Beyond that, actually, beyond that, if you like written lore, you can go check out our website, the Eorzeanarchives.com, where you can find written lore there. We have a Twitter where we'll put all sorts of funny Final Fantasy XIV related content. We also have a second channel called Eorzean Plus, where we put out things like Eorzea, our Final Fantasy XIV archive. So, for instance, every time there's a new event, we archive it in like very high quality and like without a UI other than like the text. It like looks like a mini movie of the event. Or we also put out the parts of the game increment by increment in the same viewing parameter. I think that's all I have to say. Does anybody have any final thoughts or words that they want to hit on before we head out here? I know that a lot of you right now are talking in the Discord because you're unable to talk to each other. You're unable to talk via chat because I don't know why YouTube just decided to break tonight. Ah. I will give it a second here. I'll give it 60 seconds and then we'll head out. Chilly. Oh, so very chilly. In this room of mine, where it's cold enough for water to freeze. Okay, then I'm gonna head out then, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. I've been Elio Fortran, and a mighty cheers to you.